College football.
Welcome to ESPN College Football presented by PlayStation 5. And welcome to the Big Ten on ABC. For only the second time in program history, Michigan State plays a December home game. The Spartans take on Justin Fields and Ohio State. Two of the Buckeyes' last three games have been canceled. Today, they are without against Michigan State. Three starters on the offensive line. Their head coach and Tuff Borland, the heart and soul of their defense. You have to face adversity at some point during a season, and it certainly seems like Ohio State will be facing exactly that today. Bob Wischusen here with Dan Orlovsky. Quinn Kesnick will join us in just a moment. All right, adversity has struck, as if there hasn't been enough already with COVID in 2020 and the Big Ten delaying their season. Ohio State, all these teams, they've been through a lot. Even more to deal with today.
Now, when I think of today, the unavailable players, the head coach not being there, and you talked about those three offensive linemen, my mind goes to two things. Talent. You're Ohio State and you recruit a ton of talent. That has to show today. And then leadership. The leadership of your program has to take a step forward. Everybody, coaches and players that are there today, you have to think, I got to be one play, two plays better. But all eyes go to this young man, Justin Fields. You have been a great player. Today, you need to become a special player. There's a lot of reasons that you shouldn't win this football game. You have to be the reason that you do win the football game. They need his best 3.5-hour stretch of football he's had in his young career to date.
Justin Fields will have Wyatt Davis at right guard. That's the only starter in his usual spot today for the Buckeyes. We'll kick it off in a moment after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
You're watching the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
Ohio State won the toss. They deferred, so it will be Michigan State starting with the football in East Lansing. Well, not surprising. We've got temperatures expected to reach nothing higher than the mid-30s, but it is dry. And between these two teams in these respective positions, as an AP Top 5 team, Ohio State's been tough to beat if you're unranked, but 46 times. As an unranked team, Michigan State has played a top 5 opponent. 10 of those times they've found a way to win. And I'm not sure if any of those previous 46 times, Dan, was it a team down 3 starters on their offensive line.
A lot of opportunity for both football teams today. Ohio State and some young replacement players. Michigan State has the chance at a huge upset.
With the fair catch, it will come out to the 25-yard line for Rocky Lombardi, who found a way last week against a ranked Northwestern team on the road to get the job done.
And his athleticism is a really big, important part to his game and to this offense. Passing the ball wise, just get it to where it needs to go. Sounds simple, but it's been a struggle at times for him in this offense this year. And then don't overthink. Just go out and be a football player, because that's what you do best today. He'll be challenged by an Ohio State defense that, minus those big plays that they've given up for some miscommunication, has played stingy at times.
When you're named after Rocky Bleier, your course in life has kind of been set. You're going to play some football.
Physical.
And he will start in the pistol with Connor Hayward starting at tailback. And a broken play on first down. Lombardi turned one way, Hayward went the other, and it's a loss of a half yard. Just like that, second down and 11. Ohio State with a straight-ahead 4-man rush. A swing pass to Hayward. He gets up the sideline across the 30, and he's out of bounds after a gain of 8.
I love that call. Second 11, you get a cross screen to Hayward. Send all your bodies to one side of the field. Now 3rd and 3. This could be a quarterback run situation. They love to get in bunch sets. There you go, that bunch right up to the top. Can you get help in man coverage with crossers and mesh, but also understanding the +1 quarterback run game?
And they'll try and run it with Hayward. And he will not have a chance to even get back to the line of scrimmage. Tommy Togiai, first on the scene for the Buckeyes. And just like that, it's a 3-and-out.
That was a great play by Togiai of just getting inside against his guard, Duplain, and then fighting back down the line of scrimmage to get off the field. Ohio State's Going to have to play great defense today to keep their football team in it, especially early on. Great job 3 and out early.
Bryce Behringer kicks it away. This won't get anywhere near Garrett Wilson, but it will take a really nice Spartans roll down inside the 20-yard line. Down to the 17. Against Indiana, Justin Fields had some tough moments.
He was too deliberate. He's got to play with more urgency. Center field safety, okay? You're going to get a seam from the left side of the screen. You got your eyes there. Now the ball's got to come out. You're too deliberate with your feet and your eyes. You bringing it there late, it's got to bring that safety right to that play. That's that pick, okay? So more urgency in the pocket. And then there was a couple moments where he tried to do too much. I felt going into this game, this was the most important game of his young career because show me the bounce back and the mental resiliency. Now with these offensive linemen out, it becomes an even bigger statement.
Bobbles the snap on first down, but wide open up the sideline is the veteran Chris Olave. And that's an easy pitch and catch first down for the Buckeyes. Gain of 17 on their first offensive snap. You know, for a player in Justin Fields, that was the MVP of the Big Ten championship game, threw for 320 yards against Clemson in the playoffs. You can see Jacob Panashuk over on the sideline. That's a statement to say he's played on that stage, and this is the biggest game he's ever played at Ohio State.
I'm not alone in my thoughts.
Olave drops this one.
I reached out
second down and 10.
After the Indiana game and watching the tape this week, I reached out to some general managers that I know in the NFL. And I said, give me your thoughts on how important or how much you're going to weigh that Indiana game. They said it's a big deal because of that was uncharacteristic football. It was NFL-style defense when it comes to schematics. And then some of the reservations about Justin as a player showed up in that game. And really, they want to see the mental resiliency. This is the first time he struggled in college. Show me that you can bounce back from a bad performance, because that's part of playing quarterback in the NFL.
Another bobbled snap. Master Teague picks up a couple. Remember, it's Harry Miller, the normal left guard, getting the start at center.
This is 2 or 3, right? First play and then the third play. Miller, when that quarterback has to, or that center has to move laterally to his right or left, that ball is going to follow which way they're moving. That has to get fixed.
Play action. Jump ball down the sideline. Incomplete for Olave. Well covered by Shakur Brown, but there's a flag out.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 5 with a blow to the head. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Redshirt freshman Michael Fletcher. He will cost the Spartans 15 yards.
Watch him up top, 5 on that tight end. Push, great push, but then that contact to Justin Fields' helmet. And that long incompletion now becomes that personal foul. You just can't contact the head if you're Fletcher. This is a big part, right? You see Justin Fields walking up to the line of scrimmage to Harry Miller, communicating where they're going, who's the responsibility of the offensive line.
Another bobbled snap, and this time Fields will take off, and he will slide for about 6 yards. Well, before the game, Dan, we were keeping our eyes on the warm-ups. This was Harry Miller snapping the ball to Justin Fields. Once he got back in the shotgun, oh boy.
And they've all been right. They've all been high and right or off to the right. So that's the concern. And now if you're Justin Fields, you know what you start thinking? I'm going to kick over a half step to the right.
Now a low snap. The ground ball picked up by Fields. It's a broken play, and he will run for a first down.
Now naturally this one goes low and left. Just watch this ball go low and left. Harry Miller trying to get a feel for what the package might be pressure-wise. That pass rush, great play by Justin Fields. I love the play before that he caught the snap. Number 1 wasn't there and he becomes a runner. I think this is going to be a big part today. You got to know your offensive line is young. If number 1 isn't there, or it's a little bit of a broken play, go allow your athleticism to work.
That time it was a snap just to Fields' right. He handled it. And Master Teague will pick up 4 yards. How much does this now, when you're trying to diagnose the defense, when you're trying to get your team set, you're the quarterback, how much is this now between your ears?
It's huge.
I don't know where the snap is going.
It is huge. You start to see less. You usually in the shotgun, your quarterback, your eyes are up, down, up, down. They're bouncing between ball and defense. Now you're going to see much less bounce up because you're just going to be focused on trying to get that snap, securing that shotgun snap.
That one a little bit better. And on the zone read, up the middle, 3 yards, Master Teague. It'll be 3rd down and 2. This is an offensive line that brought at least a decent amount of experience to this season. This is the normal starting offensive line for Ohio State. Now you've got the junior Wyatt Davis, 4 sophomores, 3 of those 4 making their first career start. Fields on a rollout. That's a first down hookup with Olave.
Right there, it shows me great feel. Ryan Day not there. This is the 4th best 3rd down offense in college football since he became their head coach. So now Kevin Wilson comes over as a play caller. 3rd down, first one of the game. Let me get the quarterback outside of the pocket, protect the offensive line a little bit, easy completion.
Again, just a little off on the snap, but does a good job of handling it. And Master Teague heads for the pylon, and he's got a Buckeyes touchdown. That close to a broken play, handled by Fields, and Teague is in the end zone.
Officials timeout for defensive injury.
They will confirm the touchdown, but it certainly looks like Master Teague broke the plane before his knee came down. Very close.
It's really that right knee. When does that right knee kind of scrape? And where's the ball in relation to that goal line?
The ruling on the field of a touchdown is under further review.
Angelo Gross and Antoine Simmons were both this close to the Peanut Tillman punch-out. So a good job by Master Teague to secure the football. Worst case scenario for the Buckeyes, they're at the 6-inch line.
Sure.
With a 1st and goal. And boy, I don't know, it seemed like Justin Fields showed you a lot. Handling the snap as many different ways as he had to on that drive, and never had that disastrous mistake.
I was just going to bring that up. Like we talked about, or I talked about before the game, this is the time to be special. And sometimes special looks differently. 3 or 4 times gathering that snap when it's high and hot. Look at this split screen angle. I think he's down at the half-yard line, maybe.
Now this split screen can be synced up to the replay booth as well. So the guys in the replay booth do have that exact synchronicity set of replays that they can at least take a look and match them up and see if that gives them some more clarity.
After review, the runner's right shin was down in the field of play with the ball at the 1-yard line. It will be 1st and goal from the 1-yard line, position 5. No need to adjust the clock.
So it is 1st and goal, and should have been inside the 1, I would think, but Justin Fields, Master Teague in the offense will now take over 1st and goal at the 1.
Should be at the 40. We had a defensive injury. Play clock should be at the 40.
And this is a moment I'm keeping my eye on this snap as well, right? Short yardage, we're in a goal line situation. You got those defensive tackles that are going to be close to Harry Miller. Make sure this snap is secured if you're the center and the quarterback. That's the #1 goal of this play.
Another bobbled snap. It's Teague again. The pile pushes to the goal line. And it looks like the officials are going to say he was stopped just short.
This is another outstanding play by Justin Fields. This is not easy to get your hand on that ball. Make sure it gets securely handed off to Master Teague, and he's right at that goal line. It's an awesome effort by Antoine Simmons coming in from the back and trying to drag him. If I'm Justin Fields and this ball is going to go run right, I'm kicking my body, a half body, over to the right behind the right leg of Harry Miller to anticipate those poor snaps.
Teague this time hit behind the line at the 2. Xavier Henderson on a safety blitz. Was able to get Teague behind the line. Now it's 3rd down and goal.
Now I'm looking at Kevin Wilson and going, okay, that first 3rd down a couple plays ago, 3rd and short, you got the ball outside of the pocket with Justin Fields. I'd really like to see something like that here. Again, anticipating or protecting against this offensive line. Allow Fields to be a dual threat quarterback on the edge.
Olave in motion. They fake him on the jet sweep. Fields gets out of the pocket. He'll do it himself. Touchdown.
This is outstanding. A little jet sweep fake. They drop out. A cover's not there. How about being special in the pocket, Justin Fields? Go create. Go make something happen. Touchdown, Buckeyes. So many little things done so well by the junior right there. Bad snaps. I got him, coach. 3rd and goal. They covered us up. I'll go make a play with my feet.
Aubiel adds the extra point. Justin Fields, composure on that opening drive. They get it in the end zone. We return with today's keys to the game, brought to you by Jared and Dan. Key to the game for Ohio State, pretty simple.
Very simple. Make sure that quarterback-center exchange never becomes the reason why you lose the game. And then for Michigan State, both sides of the line of scrimmage win. You got to win downfield. I love this. Right now, Miller, you got to get over to the sideline and figure out why these snaps are happening. Is it when I move to the right, it's high and right? If I'm reaching somebody to my left, and that's Justin Fields. Like if I was in the game and I'm on the sideline, if I'm Justin Fields, I've been through this before as a quarterback. You grab that center, you start talking about it. Hey, what's going on? Center to the quarterback and then quarterback to the center as well, communicating and then figuring out so it doesn't become an issue.
Fair catch by Jaden Reed. Let's check in with Quint.
This was a game that was very much in jeopardy this week after Ohio State had to cancel their game last week on Friday night against Illinois. Ryan Day, their head coach, tested positive, and they canceled that game to mitigate the spread of the virus. Monday, the players who were not in isolation had some small group practices, and Tuesday they were able to resume. Well, they show up today minus the services, about 20 roster members, 3 across their offensive line, but they're here with a positive attitude, and they are emotionally and physically ready to go.
Also makes it an up-in-the-air situation for Michigan State. They're not sure if the game is going to take place. That slant for Tyler Hunt off the mark from Lombardi, but there is a flag down.
Pass interference. Defense, number 47. Spot foul, automatic, 1st down.
Hilliard probably a young man that's playing because Tough Borland being out. So they're playing Tough or Pete Werner inside, and then Baron Browning, who played inside last year. And now Justin Hilliard comes in to be that 3rd linebacker spot. Michigan State goes right at him.
And so much focus on the offensive line. It certainly bears repeating that Tough Borland is also out today for Ohio State. And off to Hayward. He picks up about 2. Our first opportunity to check in with Kevin Nagani. Well, much like the UConn legend, Rocky Lombardi just threw one questionably into coverage, and it was broken up by Sevyn Banks. See what I did there?
I saw it. This is a big part of their offense, taking some shots downfield. I like his eyes by Rocky Lombardi, but you got to come back and find that receiver. Don't just throw that jump ball up to Jalen Naylor. Naylor's inside. That should be a ball that is somewhat driven on a seam. He stares off for so long and then comes back and just flings it. That's how you make those mistakes as a quarterback. Now 3rd down. Here, look at this front for Ohio State. They're going to 5 guys up in the line of scrimmage. Everybody's in one-on-ones. You got to trust your progression, Rocky.
4-man rush, and that's incomplete. Trey Mosley went inside. Lombardi threw it outside, and it will be for Kerry Coombs' defense back-to-back 3-and-outs to start the game.
Yeah, great start. Mentioned putting those guys up in the line of scrimmage. They blow out, play zone coverage underneath those defensive backs, can then play with vision on the quarterback. And then the miscommunication, again, quarterback to wide receiver.
And I know Paul Feinbaum said he thinks Ohio State needs to win with some style points. We just heard Kevin Nagandi updating Texas A&M, another team that might have to win with some style points considering how close we are to the college football playoff.
I would respectfully disagree with Mr. Feinbaum. Ohio State just needs to find a way to win this game today. Off to a good start.
Line coaches ever in college football, and here is what he is dealing with. The absence of the head coach, Ryan Day, and also 3 of 4 starters on the offensive line, and Tuff Borland, who's the quarterback of the Buckeye defense. But even with all this adversity, off to a pretty good start. Ohio State, as Master Teague dives ahead for a handful. They scored on their opening drive, and they have it again after back-to-back Michigan State 3-and-outs. Bob Wischusen, Dan Orlovsky, and Quint Kesnick. And this is only the second game in the last month for Ohio State. 2 of their last 3 have also been canceled. So going all the way back to the beginning of November, they only played that one Indiana game. There could be a rust factor as well. Teague again, nowhere to go this time. Good pursuit by the defensive front for the Spartans. Hanishuk in the backfield, helped out by Naquan Jones. Xavier Henderson through as well.
Just imagine the roller coaster of emotion for the young men on both programs, but Ohio State, games canceled, not canceled. Who's going to play? My head coach isn't there. Ryan Day even said to himself, just the eggshells that they walk on, the burden that they feel of, I don't want to be the coach that tests positive, even though I did nothing wrong, so to speak. And so these players emotionally just going through the ringer on a week-to-week basis.
3rd down and 7. 4-man rush for Michigan State. It gets through. Fields out of the pocket, looking for a block. He gets one, and he's got the first down and then some. Demario McCall with a good block out on the edge.
Spectacular. They're really trying to get a screen to the left. Receiver doesn't run the route. Okay, now react, Justin Fields. This is special. Outstanding awareness. You can't throw that ball. There's receivers downfield or offensive linemen downfield. Great understanding of what that play was, what the situation was, and going to get that first down.
Teague tries to turn the corner with a stiff arm and a flag down. He's got the first down. It looks like, if the play stands, it's a gain of 11. But the flag thrown back near the line of scrimmage.
I think they might get Olave for a false start.
During the run, holding, offense, number 88. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
That's Jeremy Ruckert, the tight end.
This is Ruckert right here, okay? That's where the hold is going to happen. He's got his hands on that outside. The spin out tries to happen from Gross. So this is really now where, okay, the offensive line's not here. How do we manage the 1st and 20? Quarterback, don't allow this defensive line to win the rep. Get the ball out.
Swing pass to Trey Sermon. It looked like a backwards pass, and he goes backwards. Drew Beasley all over Trey Sermon. And now it will be 2nd down and a mile.
Just great feel by Beasley. That's that kind of widened run game. It's really just a designed ball. Get out of your hands to the tailback. He wins the rep right away on DeJuan Jones, and a great play out in space. Really good awareness by Beasley. Just mentioned it now, Kevin Wilson and Justin Fields have to see the situation the same. 2nd 25, are we trying to get like 10, 12 yards max to give ourselves a chance on 3rd down?
Sermon up the middle. It will be 3rd and long as we take a look at Justin Fields with today's Nissan Heisman watch. You can't imagine he's going to do much to pad his numbers today. This is more about managing the game and just getting through it.
And I would imagine that's his focus as well, right? The trophy is to the side right now. Finding a way to win this game and keeping yourself in the top 4 is huge.
Extending the play on 3rd and 16. And there's a smart play by Justin Fields. Manage the game. No big mistakes. Throws it away. And his team will punt it away.
And don't think for a second that, like,
intentional grounding.
the fact that
The quarterback
it's
was
not a
outside of
sack
the
isn't a
pocket.
big part either. I understand it's 3rd and forever, and the likelihood of not converting it or converting it is small, but you don't even want to give up that 7-yard sack right there trying to make too much of a play, because Ryan Day said it himself before the game. It is going to be a field position game. So I love, again, second straight drive where Justin Fields has really helped his football team and never hurt it.
Brisbane. The line drive, still forced into a fair catch though, is Reed all the way back near the 20-yard line, Michigan State. Return with our all-state playoff predictor, taking a look at Ohio State and the rest of the college football playoff top 10. Now this is, at least according to our metric, RFPI. They run all the numbers, all the scenarios, and these are the percentages that they have, the likelihood of the top 10 to make the playoff. You can see Ohio State, we've got them at 77%, second only to Alabama, in spite of the fact that they're in the 4-hole right now in the standings. A muff snap that gets past Lombardi. Flag down as he's out of the pocket, and he will throw it away. Well, Nick Samac is, for the most part this season, the starting center for Michigan State, but not the first string center. That would be Matt Allen, but he's been hurt a good portion of the year. And this will go against Michigan State.
Holding, offense number 76, 10-yard penalty, first down. There is no foul for intentional grounding. The quarterback was outside of the pocket. The ball made the line of scrimmage. So,
Dan, to your point, you said you disagree with Paul Feinbaum. You don't think Ohio State needs style points to make the playoff. What we're basically saying, at least with our metric, is if Ohio State plays their season, 6 games, and they win the Big Ten championship game and they're undefeated, they'll be in the playoffs.
Yes, listen, it took me 17 years to graduate college. I know this. They got 3 games left, hopefully for them, 2 in the regular season and the Big Ten championship game. If they win those, they're in. I don't know what the metric would determine that, but I know that. If they play their 6 games and they win the Big Ten championship, they are one of those 4 best teams.
I'll throw one curveball at you. Florida beats Alabama.
Right, and then Notre Dame.
And Notre Dame loses to Clemson.
Correct.
So you've got the 2 lower-seeded teams winning those 2 conference championship games.
And
now,
is Ohio State 7-0 with the Big Ten championship?
Ohio State's undefeated.
Ohio State's in.
They're in. Okay. And I agree with you.
Yes.
I'm just wondering if that might be where you start to say style points wouldn't hurt you, at least
that
in that argument, if that's the way it played out. Lombardi on 2nd and 18. Checks one down underneath to Tyler Hunt. And that will only be good for about 3 yards. Met immediately by Barrett Browning. And Dallas Gant there as well. So it will be 3rd down and 15 now for Michigan State.
I was reading a really well-written piece in The Athletic this week, and I think Bill Landis was the guy who said it's record versus reputation then, right? Is the reputation of Ohio State going to carry itself more than maybe the record of, okay, Clemson with 1 loss without Trevor Lawrence going to get in, so to speak.
A hole for Elijah Collins, and he's only a yard short. Rocky Lombardi thinks he has it, but it looked to be just shy of the first down line to gain on 3rd down and 15. And will the offense stay out there for the Spartans? Nope, it will not. Here comes the punt group.
That's a really nice open field tackle by Marcus Hooker, who had a rough game 2 weeks ago against Indiana, but that open field tackle, I thought Collins had a huge chance to just try and run through him. He gets him down a yard short, and they get off the field again.
Bryce Behringer. That'll be a fair catch at the 27-yard line for Garrett Wilson. Well, Tuesday, 7 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. It's the next exclusive reveal of the college football playoff top 25 rankings. 3 of the guys will break it all down. They'll talk live with committee chairman Gary Barta. And, of course, this all leads to what I think the calendar sometimes plays havoc with this. This is the year that I think we just wrap our arms around the college football playoff. We've got the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl as the playoff games on New Year's Day. It's just the way it's supposed to be.
In almost like in the NBA, right? Like you could make the case that this will be the most difficult and challenging journey to actually get into the college football playoff this year.
Fields on a keeper, bounces it outside. Now he's turning on the Jets. Justin Fields with a stiff arm. All the way down inside the 30, out of bounds at the Michigan State 28-yard line.
The traditional zone read. Read that defensive end. He claps right side of the screen. Watch Farrell. I love that move. Here's the block out in the open field. They freeze Henderson. And then Fields got the ability to get some extra yardage. A great play call and really well blocked run, but then he freezes that defensive lineman. Camper, open field.
44 yards on that run for Justin Fields. Low snap, he scoops it up again. Trying to create and just dirts that one as he was going down. And I think they'll say Jamison Williams was in the area. The pressure, Jacob Slade.
Eligible receiver number 6 was in the area.
This is building a net. Keep Justin Fields in the net. Watch the defensive tackle up top, 64, spin around. Keep him in the pocket and then close. That ball is going forward. It looks out of Justin Fields' hands, but that's what they've got to do. They've got to keep him in the pocket. They really want to try and put a defensive tackle or lineman on each foot. Have a guy on his right, have a guy on his left, keep him in front. It's not necessarily getting to him, making sure he doesn't play outside the pocket.
Fields on a rollout. Flips one down the sideline. Garrett Wilson at the goal line and in for a touchdown.
Watch Wilson starts in the slot. He's going to run a wheel route up the sideline, snap it down, find that little soft spot over that flat defender in front of that corner, and then have the ability to finish. I love that little play design, getting him outside the pocket. I love the throw from Justin Fields. Garrett Wilson, a guy that has taken a huge step forward for this offense. Big touchdown for the Buckeyes.
Ohio State down 3 starters on the offensive line, shifting players around. 3 players making their first career starts. Justin Fields has dealt with errant snaps from the center Harry Miller, and through all of that, he's got big plays on the ground. He throws a touchdown pass, and the Buckeyes have a 2-touchdown lead.
All right, here's this pass concept. You're going to run a curl route. That's going to take this corner with you, and then Wilson's going to come up and just run a little comeback, okay? He's gonna wheel, comeback. Now watch the corner, follow Olave, great. Now freeze it. That flat defender, this guy right here is now in a bind because he's got vision on the quarterback. Do I go up and attack him, or do I have to hang back? Now look at this soft spot right here. That's exactly where Fields is gonna throw that ball. Gotta get it over his head. This is a little bit of a touch, a love throw up over his head, and then it's an awesome finish by Garrett Wilson. I love that little play design. You take the corner away. Don't know what that is, but awesome touchdown for the Buckeyes.
Now you said Justin Fields. This was arguably the most important game of his career so far at Ohio State. What kind of a start is he off to in your opinion?
Blown away for me, because this is exactly what I wanted to see from him. Doing the little things, those snaps have been outstanding, and then making the play when it presents itself.
Pretty good return here for Jalen Naylor out to the 36-yard line. Let's check in with Kevin.
Officials timeout for an injury. Please set the play
clock
to 25.
That's Kaczynski, who was down on the kickoff return unit for Ohio State. So while the training staff takes a look at Kaczynski, let's remind you that tonight Trevor Lawrence and number 3 Clemson head to Blacksburg to take on the Hokies. Our coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app. Trevor Lawrence now is back playing for Clemson, and as good as DJ Uiagalelei was in his absence and as competitive as they were when they played at Notre Dame, they still came up short. So they've got that one loss. As we take a look at this week's college football playoff rankings, brought to you by Capital One, how do you see all this shaking out?
If I'm right, if I'm correct, I believe the ACC, because of some of the scheduling alterations that they've made, it is Notre Dame, Clemson in the ACC championship game. Or Notre Dame's a lock, right? Clemson has to, I believe, win today, and then they're going to be in the ACC championship game. I think Alabama's got a huge game against Florida. We've talked about that with the SEC title game coming up. We see 2 and 3 are more than likely going to play each other. And so now it's Ohio State and Texas A&M and Florida really fighting for that 4th spot. I've been outspoken. We had A&M last week. They've got a championship caliber defense. Their offense looked okay. Huge game today against Auburn happening right now. Ohio State, if you just win your football games, because of partly where you were preseason ranked, you're one of those 4 best, most deserving, most earned, however we want to phrase it, one of those 4 teams.
And right now, Texas A&M playing against a 3-loss Auburn team. They're winning in the second quarter 7-3. So again, it's that argument of the style points. How good do you need to look? As that goes off the hands of Jalen Naylor and out of bounds.
And I think if Ohio State wins this football game today 31-30, there's a lot of game left. They win 31-30, you go, okay, they're still the 4th best team. If they come out and, if this game continues to trend the way it's trending, then there's a solidification of one of those 4 best teams, at least for this week, obviously.
Reed in motion, 2nd down and 10. A toss to Elijah Collins. He's only able to cut back for a couple of yards. As he's pulled down by Justin Hilliard, playing in place of Tough Borland. It'll be 3rd down and 8. But Tommy Togiai told us that this was a game that they have now circled because they know that this is important to their resume. And he put it on Twitter. It's a game that's going to tell us what kind of a team we've got.
And I thought that was an interesting comment, and then brought it up to Ryan Day. And Ryan Day said the reason he can talk that way is because his effort in practice validates what he says. Quiet leader, but when he says something, it stings in their football team.
Check down. Trying to use the stiff arm and get outside is Connor Hayward, but he can't do it. Pete Werner brings him down. And it is another 3rd down stop for Ohio State, Quint.
And I found that quote to be revealing that they would be shorthanded for this game, and it would be some 2nd and 3rd stringers that would have to toe the rope.
When you have a guy that plays as hard as Togiai, and he says something that kind of direct, it forces everyone to focus a little bit more. It forces everyone to understand and play with urgency, to feel the gravity of the situation, to lock in just a little bit more. It's just a great moment of leadership by one of their best defensive linemen.
Garrett Wilson with a fair catch close to the 25-yard line. And Justin Fields again playing with a brand new center, his normal left guard in Harry Miller. He has dealt with some errant snaps, but has always maintained his composure even when plays have broken down.
I love the word you keep using, composure. This is a great example of it down in the red zone, the ability to scramble and go make that play. The open field athleticism, he puts Camper on skates, freezes that safety. This is that zone read that's such a big part of their offense. And then the touchdown. I love this throw. Look at this angle. This ball's just got to get up over. He puts it on a line. It's going to get picked. It's got to get over that defender, but down into Wilson's hands before the corner collapses. So everything that we've wanted to see from Justin Fields, the leadership, the composure, the handling the situation, to not hurting your football team, has been on display in this first quarter.
Pastor Teague up the middle for 2.
And that
take us to the end of the first quarter.
We mentioned it, how difficult it is. You go in with the mindset, I got to play Superman football today. No, you don't. You need to lead, not carry our team. Justin Fields has done that so far today.
His team has a 14-0 lead after 1.
Four teams, 2 semifinals, New Year's Day. The College Football Playoff lives on ESPN.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by PlayStation 5. As we continue Dr. Pepper's championship drive game of the week. And Ohio State certainly hoping to be that Big Ten team that drives to those New Year's Day playoff games. The Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day will determine the college football playoff. And the championship game, Julian Fleming on an end around. He gets to the 29-yard line. It'll be 3rd down coming for Ohio State, 3rd down at 6. Only 1 first down in the game so far for Michigan State.
these situations, Justin Fields got to be great with his eyes. You know, Michigan State wants to show you something and give you something else after the snap. So what are your eyes telling you? You got to find a middle field safety. Where's the coverage? Look at, he's going to go run the line of scrimmage. He thinks he knows the coverage, changing the route concept.
And a better snap that time. He throws it in rhythm to Garrett Wilson, makes a man miss, and he's got the first down. He put a move on Angelo Gross and was able to move the chains.
So smart, though. He thinks, okay, I'm going to get some form of a pressure. Let me get the ball out of my hands to Wilson. Quick flat. Okay, now you go earn your scholarship. Out in space on Gross, the true freshman. Make a guy miss, and then I just need a couple more yards for that first down. It's really good awareness pre-snap by Justin Fields, getting it out, and then Wilson going to make a play.
T for a yard. Brought down by Michael Dowell.
Really good job by Dowell of just filling in, being the overhang defender on your defense, and then falling in once you see that ball get handed off. The danger for that, though, is as Ohio State's looking at that, you're going, okay, maybe we can get Justin Fields back out on the perimeter in that run. They're not being disciplined with their eyes.
Here he is in the pocket, looking downfield, finds a crosser. It's Garrett Wilson again. Down the sideline with a stutter step. Flag down, but he will cruise into the end zone for a would-be touchdown. We'll have to check the penalty marker.
During the run, holding, offense number 33. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. However, the yardage is enough for a first down.
So Ohio State moves the chains, but the Teague holding penalty takes the touchdown off the board. Still a play that's good for 24 yards.
And Master Teague is part of this route concept. This is him right here, okay? He's on Antoine Simmons, that linebacker. If I'm an Ohio State fan, I'm not happy with that call. They called it. I don't see enough there to throw a flag, but
such a well-designed play, too.
Oh, man, it was awesome.
Looking at the replay, it just got the flow going one way, came back the other way with a crosser, and now there is nowhere to go for Trey Sermon. Good penetration from Jacob Slade again.
Yeah, second nice play by Slade. We saw it once in the pass game, and then his ability to shed off that blocker Matthew Jones and make that stop in the backfield. This is where Michigan State defensively needs to win. This 2nd and 13, where you don't want to give up a 7 or 8 yard completion or a chunk run here, because your chances of stopping this Ohio State drive with this beat up offensive line are so much greater if they've got to play on 3rd and longs.
Four-man rush. Good pass protection. Another underneath crosser in Olave. He lost the football. It looks like it will stay with Ohio State, though, and they will rule that a fumble. Harry Miller was downfield to cover it up.
It's a big shot by Olave, or on Olave here.
Ruling on the field is a
Antoine Simmons and Gross right at that point of
3rd down.
contact, and it's an awesome job of Harry Miller as an offensive lineman, just following the football. You never know when it's going to pop out.
Well, this is the opportunity, Dan, you talked about a moment ago for Michigan State defensively. They have forced 3rd down and 5. Can they get a stop? Can they get off the field? Buckeyes are 4 for 5 on 3rd down. Justin Fields creating with a ball fake, with a flag down, muscles his way for a first down if the play stands.
I think this is going to stay for Ohio State. I think they're going to get holding on the defense. What an effort by number 1.
Holding. Defense, number 24. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. First down. Correction. It's going to go from the end of the run. First down.
You just talk about another great play. He wants to get that ball out of his hands now. I don't think he's got a grip on it, so he pulls it back. Never underestimate your ability to not throw the ball. And then how about that? A little freeze and effort. He gets hit about a yard short there, but runs through Angelo Gross. Another example of mentally being locked in, mentally going, okay, the play's not there, something doesn't feel right, and then the physical talent taking over for Justin Fields.
Their best offense so far has been that. Justin Fields out of the pocket creating. He had 71 yards rushing in the first quarter. He's never had that many yards rushing in any quarter so far in his college career. So he's up to 77 yards rushing now. And again, he's doing this behind a makeshift offensive line, and maybe because of a makeshift offensive line. He's without Josh Myers, his normal starting center, Nicholas Petit-Frere and Thayer Munford, his two normal starting tackles, and even the true freshman Paris Johnson, who would undoubtedly step up and be one of those tackles and replace one of the two starters today. He's not available either.
And really only one of those, at least run-wise, has been a designed run. Everything else has been him creating, him handling a bad snap or a broken play or a covered down play, and him just being one of those special playmaking football players.
Trey Sermon breaks free, dodging tacklers into the secondary, almost finds the end zone. Down inside the 5-yard line, it will be first and goal. The grad transfer from Oklahoma makes a big play here.
Watch the corner falling from the left, Irvin. And he does a great job, Trey Sermon, of just holding or hugging those blocks, making that corner miss that block. What a beautiful run. Buckeyes driving it again.
We have an injury timeout. We'll step aside.
College football presented by PlayStation 5 on ABC is brought to you by Pacific Life. More than 150 years strong. Trust in your tomorrow.
This is the 49th all-time meeting between Ohio State and Michigan State. That was the coach's handshake prior to the last Michigan State win in 2015 when Mark Antonio's team went to the shoe and won. Third down. Michigan State has struggled to get off the field. And now it's first and goal for the Buckeyes, but this play blown dead before the snap. A timeout called on defense from the sideline by the Spartans.
Michigan State is their first charged. 30 seconds in length.
I think Michigan State only has 10 people on the field. Good timeout for them. Obviously a wasted timeout in the situation, but get your 11 on.
You think about the first half that Justin Fields has had. He's trying to get a team to the college football playoff. His closest pursuers, Texas A&M, struggling right now in their game against Auburn. And of course, Florida, they've got Tennessee later, but everyone thinks it's the Gators on a collision course with Alabama in the SEC championship game.
And I also think Florida's defense is going to have to play much better for them to pull off that upset against Alabama.
After the timeout, Fields with a pump fake. Trying to bounce it outside. Xavier Henderson got there first, and he's got nowhere to go. He will go down at the 5-yard line. Good job by Henderson as he slowed up Fields and forced him to twist out of the backfield. Let's check in with Quinn.
Dan, you made a point about Michigan State's defense only having 10. Well, before that snap, I counted 12. And eventually the back judge spotted it.
Illegal substitution, 12 on defense. Be a half the distance penalty, first down.
That's one of those where you really shake your head. You've got 10 on the field, you call timeout. Out of the timeout, you put 12 on the field.
10-4-0.
So often, especially down here, when you're changing personnel groupings, like this is when a lot of different bodies are coming on and off the field because it's a specific part of the field down close red zone. Like you have people that are directly tied to like you count to make sure that our numbers are right. To have that happen 2 plays in a row is such a waste by Michigan State.
So instead of second and goal at the 5, it's to the 1-yard line again. Fields to the end zone. It's a walk-in Buckeyes touchdown. And a 3-score lead. Justin Fields does it again.
How great is this? So you're going to motion down the tight end, okay? He's going to be the guy that collapses that defensive end, and then you're going to get the big tackle. He's going to be a guy that it's allowed to pull around and block a defensive back. Motion, that tackle pulls, block that defensive back, walk-in touchdown for Fields.
That's DeJuan Jones starting at left tackle. You said big, literally, figuratively. 360 pounds, 6'8". That's a lot of left tackle to be able to run behind.
How great is this? Fields off the edge. Sermon leads. 21-0 on the road. Buckeyes up early. So they're running that, that's an RPO.
Mark Sanchez texted me when I gave you the UConn legend. He said, damn Bob, you better lay off my man Olave. Unless he starts talking about his little brother Carson Wentz, then you can say whatever you want.
Well, now that we're in 21-0 and the game at least is trending, I can have a little fun with those guys. I said I wanted Justin Fields to go from great player to special player. He's done it. Start in the red zone. No one's open. Eyes downfield, 2 hands on the ball. Go make a play with your athleticism and get us in the end zone. Great start. How about in the zone read game? That guy wins, make him miss. Freeze the safety, go down the sideline for a huge chunk in our run game. I love the throw to Wilson. Look at the touch throw up over the top. Got to be able to make all the right throws at the right time. And then third down, no one's there. Defense wins the rep. Go make something happen. Special number 1. Effort to go get that conversion and then finish the drive. Quarterback run down in the red zone. He's had an absolutely outstanding first half. Challenge him to be special. He's been everything and more.
When you see Justin Fields and you think NFL, are you thinking Deshaun Watson? Are you thinking, like, what comp would there be to a current quarterback and how good you think he can be?
I think Deshaun Watson's a fair comp. Deshaun's more twitchy. Deshaun is more sudden than Justin. Deshaun's a much more advanced thrower of the football as well. Like, Watson does a great job of getting from 2 to 3 in the progression. I would say this for Justin Fields. Number 1 right now is you got to have the ability to get off your first receiver. Find your second and third progression fast. That's why I said that word, urgency. Play with a twitchy mind, so to speak. I love his athleticism and his creativity. And I thought today's game was huge because last game, 2 weeks ago, was the first time he played bad college football. First time. And show me that you could bounce back from that poor performance, have the mental resiliency, because that's going to happen in the NFL, right? And so the physical traits are 100% there. He needs to grow as a thrower and a passer, both with the process of it and then the act of it. But this is a great, great start bouncing back from that Indiana game.
Rocky Lombardi needs to get a drive going. Good start to Jalen Naylor. Now play fake again. They'll float one to the sideline. And that will sail out of bounds. Let's check in with Kevin. Dan Booger said that's what toughness and athleticism looks like.
Hey, Boog, see if you can clip that off and send it to Baton Rouge then.
For tonight?
For tonight.
Lombardi throws it away. It'll be 3rd down and 10. And just so Booger knows, all throughout the first quarter when it was low left and high right on the snaps from Harry Miller to Justin Fields, during the break, Dan said that is basically Booger's golf game. I defended Booger. You didn't want to hear it.
That's also the way he goes at birdie putts. Just a little bit low left again, bub. Just left that one high and right.
3rd down and 10. Michigan State desperate to keep a drive going. 0 for 4 on 3rd down. 4-man rush. Lombardi with a check down to Connor Hayward, and he'll only pick up a couple. So it should be a punt again on their side of the 50-yard line for Michigan State. And here comes the group to kick it away.
So Michigan State offensively, they're just not right now good enough to play behind the chains, right? They're an offense that needs to play within rhythm and on schedule. Now, Ohio State's defense is built to force the ball to be thrown underneath. And as long as we're in the right spots, we'll come up and make those tackles. They're playing very disciplined today.
Punt into the end zone from Berenger. And tomorrow at 10 a.m. you can get your Sunday NFL started with Countdown. Seattle superstar Russell Wilson, Sue Bird go one-on-one. And then it's Monday Night Football on Monday night. Our matchup this week, Josh Allen and the Bills will take on the 49ers. 8 Eastern on ESPN and ABC this week. ESPN Deportes and the ESPN app. That game is in Arizona because the 49ers can't play at home. So it'll be Josh Allen and the Niners basically on a neutral field.
And this is the guy that I would actually compare Justin Fields a little bit to. Josh Allen, maybe not just the explosive arm when it comes to sheer power, but a guy that's got a lot of physical traits, a big-time athlete, and if he's coached the right way and developed the right way in the NFL, should become an absolute superstar.
There's an on-time throw to Olave for a first down.
And that
8 touchdowns on the first 4 possessions.
But that one possession with the punt, that was 1st and 20, you know, and so with the 3 offensive linemen that are out, 1st and 20s, because of the penalty, it's going to be so difficult. When they've stayed on schedule and he's made some plays on 3rd down, they've been unstoppable.
Fields on a rollout to Olave for another first down.
You guys were talking about Justin Fields, and from Fields' side, it's like watching a high school football game. He's the best athlete on the field, and it doesn't take a genius to see that. You're just watching him warm up and now perform. Plus, one thing that stood out is the leadership. Today, he came out with focus, with intent. His teammates, the skill players specifically, rallying around him pregame.
Teague for 3 yards up the middle. And this is what Justin Fields was supposed to be from the time he was in high school.
Yes.
Our recruiting guys, they listed him, ESPN, as a 5-star, the #1 dual threat quarterback in America. Went to Georgia, of course, ends up on the transfer to Ohio State. And it looks like there's a very good chance he'll be the #2 pick in the draft.
And today's game has a little bit of an NFL feel, at least when you look at the reality of franchises want franchise quarterbacks. And at some point, you play games without stars. Your offensive line is beat up.
They'll throw this one away to the sideline. And there is a flag down, and Fields is hurt. He took a shot after he let that one go. And it is good to see he's able to get up and get to the sideline.
Roughing the passer. Defense number 86, loading his body weight on the tackle. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Hopefully that's just Justin Fields getting the wind knocked out of him as he's pointing to his ribs.
Watch Beasley from the backside here, now there, and then
It's not going to be ejectable, it's just a foul. Okay.
That's just where we are when it comes to protecting the quarterback position in football nowadays. When you get on top, Beasley's got to do everything he can to turn and roll. I have no idea how difficult that is for a defensive lineman in that moment. He doesn't necessarily know if Fields still has the football. It's great to see that he looks to be okay in the side. I just think that's the reality of where we are when it comes to protecting the quarterbacks.
C.J. Stroud will play, it looks like, at least one play. So hand one off to Master Teague. And Teague is piled up after a gain of 2, maybe 3. And that'll bring Justin Fields right back in the game.
Yeah, a lot of times when that happens, if you don't suffer some form of an injury, which again, it doesn't look like Justin Fields did, you land on top of, an elbow, or sometimes it's the ball, he had thrown it away, but the wind does just get knocked out of you, or you just clip something the wrong way, and you just need a minute to catch your breath again. So it's great to see him okay.
Trick play, the reverse to Olave. And he's brought down at the line of scrimmage as the true freshman Angelo Gross stayed home. He was waiting for Olave, and that time made a nice open field tackle.
Yeah, Gross has been developing for this defense. They've really pushed hard in practice to get him ready, and he's earned these reps on the field. How about Fields coming in right after the play that he's been out and go, hey, be the lead blocker here for us, right? You go be our lead blocker. 3rd and 7. This is when Ohio State loves to get some crossing routes going. You know, forcing the defense to have to communicate pass-off routes. And Fields just goes through progressions. 1 to 2 to 3. Try to find the open part of that triangle.
Wanted to set the screen up. Again, just hoisted to the sideline. Was there a receiver in the area? A flag is now out. Will they call intentional grounding?
It has to be either grounding or lineman downfield.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 1. Spot foul. Loss of down. It will be 4th down.
That will turn out to be a 3rd down stop for Michigan State.
They're really just trying to get that throwback screen to the tight end Rucker. It's covered up. I love the throwaway, but no one is there. You brought Justin Fields in that moment to try to just throw it at Rucker's feet. You know, just try to ground it right at his feet rather than sailing it over his head. But at the end of the day, I like the fact that he does not try to force that throw and get a silly interception.
And if you're looking for a small win here for Michigan State, that does pull them out of field goal range. Drew Chrisman will now have to punt. Jaden Reed will let this one fall behind him, and it is perfectly done. That rolled dead inside the 1-yard line. I'm not even sure that Olave had to touch it. Can't do it any better. And Drew Chrisman just did it. Time for our Aflac trivia question. Aflac. Michigan State is 4-14 when unranked against Ohio State. When was the last time as an unranked team they beat the Buckeyes?
I know the answer. 2003.
Okay. We're going to find out coming up. You are 0 for the season, and every single time I do an Aflac trivia question, your immediate response is that you've got it.
Confidence is everything.
From the 1-yard line. Looking for some points before halftime. And they'll have to go 99 yards to find the end zone. Rocky Lombardi will just try and buy a little bit of breathing room. All right, you were very confident in your answer, so let's find out right now the answer to our Aflac trivia question. Aflac. The last time Michigan State, unranked, beat a ranked Ohio State team was? And Dan Orlovsky stays 0 for the season.
Only off by about 2,000 days.
And off to Hayward. Brought down at the line and thrown back again. It'll be 3rd down and 9. Haskell Garrett was there. And talk about that flashback. Nick Saban on the sideline for Michigan State. Bill Burke to Lavelle Richardson for the touchdown. 3-yard touchdown by Cedric Irvin as well. Put Michigan State ahead. And they would hold on to beat Ohio State 28-24. Lombardi rather from the end zone, and that pass is knocked into the hands of Garrett, and he's got a touchdown.
The ruling on the field was a pass that was batted legally, possessing the end zone by the defense. Touchdown.
It's a pick 6 right in the end zone for Garrett.
What a great play by Garrett. Now listen, defensive lineman, you can't get home. Get your hands up. Mirror the hand of the quarterback. When his arm starts to throw, get your left hand up, bop. And look how high that ball goes, and then the awareness to track it, big fella, and go make that jump for the pick. Just an awesome, awesome play. I love the fact that when Rocky Lombardi goes to start his throw, his hand, his left arm goes up as well. That's well coached. Larry Johnson, defensive line. Another Ohio State touchdown.
Well, if you're Ryan Day and you're watching this game from home and you had worries about 3 starters missing on the offensive line and Tough Borland being out, now your defense scores. How about this response from the Buckeyes?
It's been outstanding. The offense has shown up and the defense has been great. Celebrations galore for the Buckeyes. Look at Haskell Garrett again, okay? That defensive tackle in this 3rd down rush situation. Watch the marriage. Left arm goes up right then when Rocky Lombardi's releasing that football That's how that interception happens, and that's something that is coached from Larry Johnson to all those defensive linemen. You can't get home, you can still impact the play. The little things pay off in a big way.
First career interception, first career touchdown, all at the same time. And by the way, Bishop Gorman in Las Vegas, he was 43-0 in 3 years of high school, 3 state championships, and a national championship.
A play Booger McFarland would never make.
Let's find out if Boog agrees. Back to the studio and Kevin. Is he implying that you do not?
Nothing like bragging for a singular touchdown.
Bob Wischusen, Dan Orlovsky, and Quinn Kesnick. Big Ten football here on ABC. And Rocky Lombardi looking for something positive to happen before halftime. Elijah Collins for a couple.
You know, a huge storyline for this game has been the Ohio State offense, as it rightfully should have been with the players out. Tough Borland's been out for this defense. This defense has looked spectacular so far today. Coming off of that game 2 weeks ago against Indiana, where there were some moments where you're going, okay, we got to step up and make plays. And we've seen this defense be stout. The secondary's been awesome, and they have made some plays in critical situations.
Lombardi off play action, out of the pocket, and down he goes. Tyreek Smith on a speed rush gets the sack. And Lombardi's hurt.
Rocky Lombardi, as tough as they come. As tough as they come, so.
He's trying to shake it off, but he doesn't look like he is all there right now. This is a little scary for Rocky Lombardi. Tyreek Smith at 6'4", close to 270 pounds. He came full steam. And it seemed like his full body weight just about landed on Rocky Lombardi.
Yeah, and when Rocky was getting up, you saw that grass in that corner of his helmet. That makes me think that head went into the ground pretty severely. Yep, right in that moment, you see a little bit of contact, or a lot of bit of contact between Rocky Lombardi's helmet and the ground.
And when the arms don't move with any kind of natural flow after a player goes down, it's in that moment you're really afraid that there could be a head injury here. And it is good to see at least Rocky Lombardi sitting up and having a conversation with Michigan State's medical personnel. So Peyton Thorne, who did get into the Indiana game 2 games ago for Michigan State, is warming up, and he will come on.
You're just being honest in the moment right now. If I'm a Michigan State fan, I would want to know how that hit by Tyreek Smith is different than the Beasley hit that was on Justin Fields, right? They look somewhat similar. If Justin Fields as a quarterback gets that protection, I would just want to say then Rocky Lombardi probably should get the same type of protection as well.
And they're going to take Rocky Lombardi back to the locker room. So now 3rd and 17 for Peyton Thorne. And they'll play it safe, hand it off to Elijah Collins. And it will be another punt for Michigan State. But one tough customer, Rocky Lombardi, is going to head back and be evaluated.
I've had those moments as a quarterback. I've had those moments when you're in, like you get hit and your head hits the ground and there's some oomph behind it. And you could have a 5-second break, you know, where you see stars. That's a real thing. When you're seeing stars, or you get the moment knocked out of you, so to speak, it comes back. And that's kind of what Rocky Lombardi looked like in that moment, where you just go, you hope you're okay.
Garrett Wilson on the return, brought down at the 34-yard line. Coming up, the Capital One halftime report. Only moments away. Kevin Nagandi, Mark Sanchez, Booger McFarland They are in the studio with highlights and a look at the rest of the day in college football. It looks like there was a flag down on the punt return as well, so we'll check the marker.
Sideline interference by the receiving team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
So that will back the Buckeyes up, and more real estate for Justin Fields to cover. Now, not only does he have 119 yards and a touchdown through the air, but 70 yards on the ground, just about all of that in the first quarter.
I think the things that I've loved about his game so far the most today is the ball's come out of his hands quickly. He hasn't hung back in the pocket and really hung this offensive line out to dry. 2, he's made plays. You know, the play's not there, that becomes that decision making, that playing under duress, that don't panic with the football moment, and he's aced that so far today. And he's gone to the right place with the football when he's been a thrower. So I've just loved his performance so far in this first half. I also just love that moment right there, going attack to that young left tackle, DeJuan Jones. Hey, just be ready, that linebacker might be pressuring. So now you've given him a little bit of the answer before the test.
On the slant, and that's broken up. Well, along those lines, having the answers to the test, you said this week you want to see Justin Fields do a better job at playing then what football.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so playing quarterback, before the snap, you're like, okay, I see the coverage, but if that safety does this, then what do I do with the ball? Or if that nickel defender does this, then where do I go? If I break outside of the pocket, which he's done today, and the defense hangs back, then what do I do? And he's done a really good job of that today, and it's been showing up for their performance.
Well, that screen pass ends up deflecting into the hands of Wyatt Davis. That was nearly a Michigan State takeaway.
The pass was first legally touched by an eligible receiver, making the reception legal. Third down.
Watch Simmons, 34, left side of your screen. He's got the back end man. He gets that ball tipped up in the air, and obviously Davis there, lucky for Ohio State offensively today. A couple times where the effort of their offensive line just kind of being near the football. We saw Harry Miller for that fumble recovery, and then Davis with that tipped ball. This is where he's got to be great with his eyes. You see 2 safeties right now. What do these 2 safeties do after the snap with their rotation?
High snap, and Justin Fields, he's going to play it safe and run with it. And go down well shy of the first down. So again, snapping the football for Harry Miller as he is backing up the normal center, Josh Myers, out today. Hasn't been an issue the last couple of possessions, but it certainly was back in the first quarter.
Okay, so in that moment, you're 3rd and 12 again. Justin Fields is one of the better competitors we have in college football. I want to go get this first down. That snap's not good. Don't make the bad play worse. That's 5 or 6 times today. He's made the right decision in the moment, and I've loved it.
Let's check in with Quinn.
After a rough first 2 series snapping the ball, Harry Miller, until that last snap, had done a good job. And for him, it's like playing cornhole blindfolded. He's new to the center position. He snaps it. He has no idea where it's going. So what he's done now, between series, he comes over with the old line coach and reps some snaps with some kind of guidance. Like, oh, that was a strike. That was off to the right. That was off to the left. To get that muscle memory.
I love that. Quint, also, it's Bago. It's not cornhole, it's Bago.
Fair catch. Pulled in by Jaden Reed. Well, college football playoff rankings, at least for this week, where things stand today. You've got the top 6, and Texas A&M taking on Auburn right now. The only other game going on besides Ohio State and Michigan State. Alabama plays later on tonight. This afternoon, you will see Notre Dame and Syracuse, Clemson and Virginia Tech in prime time. And Tennessee will take on Florida. That is the top 6. And Ohio State, if there are style points involved, they're certainly piling some on. Whereas Texas A&M only has the 4-point lead. Quick out to Jalen Naylor, as it is still Peyton Thorne at quarterback.
And with Peyton Thorne coming on the field now in this 2-minute situation, it's going to be paramount for him to do what he just did in that first down. Like, get that ball out of your hands for Jalen Naylor to be a positive completion. Now 2nd and 4. This defensive line doesn't know if it's going to be run or pass. You still have time, making sure being completion driven. Good.
Here it is, over the middle. He hits Tyler Hunt. One timeout left for Michigan State. And still plenty of time on the clock to try and score before halftime. And maybe getting into a little bit of a rhythm now is Peyton Thorne. He's got Mosley, and that's good enough for another first down.
And now this, I want to see this Ohio State defense rise up in this moment. You know, if your offense has been great and you've been outstanding, but show me in this moment, no matter who the quarterback is or the offense that you're playing against, that you can play lockdown 2-minute football.
Here comes the blitz, and nowhere to go for Connor Hayward. That swing pass produces nothing. Zach Harrison read it perfectly. It's a loss of 7.
You secondary guys for Ohio State, you've been beaten with some 50-50 balls. Keep the ball in front. Make those contested plays if they present themselves.
Trey Mosley makes it 3rd and manageable. But the Spartans are still looking for their first 3rd down conversion of the day. Peyton Thorne's 5 for his first 5, but they are 0 for 7 on 3rd down. Again, it's a 4-man rush. Yeah. You would think you would go for it as Tyler Hunt comes up a yard shy of the first down. They'll actually mark him 2 yards shy without hesitation. Looks like Michigan State will leave their offense on the field.
I'd love to see Michigan State call a timeout to get into the ideal personnel grouping and whatnot. You're still wasting 8-10 seconds here at the line of scrimmage. Pop your timeout there and get this first down.
Thorne's going to run for it, and he's got it on his own, but lost the football. It's stripped out, and it's knocked back behind the line to gain, and it looks like it'll be Ohio State recovering with 45 seconds to go in the half. And now we've got flags down after the play. Helmets are off, and there's a lot to unpack here for the officials, as Ronnie Hickman for the Buckeyes lost his helmet. Devontae Jean-Baptiste came up with the fumble recovery for the Buckeyes. And now we'll have to deal with the flags that appeared to have been thrown after the play was over.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense after the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Ohio State number 14, 15-yard penalty from the recovery spot. This is his first foul that leads towards disqualification. First down.
And that was Ronnie Hickman as he bumped Connor Hayward, and that drew the flag.
It's a great play by Werner. Watch Baron Browning come in, rip that ball out, number 5 right there. Hickman sees it rolling around, falls on the ball, helmet goes out, ball pops out again.
And watch Hickman, number 14, Hickman, that little shot right there to Hayward, drew the penalty.
Hayward kicked his helmet, right? And so, one of those moments where like the second guy gets it, right? You go, wait, how can Connor Hayward kick my helmet? I just give him a little shove and it's not okay.
Trey Sermon picks up 4.
But I love that from the defense. You know, I've said it a couple plays before. Show me that you can play whatever, college football playoff, championship level, 2-minute defense. Find a way to get off the field or get a turnover. Werner and Browning do it. That's a great job.
And that should take us down to halftime as the two teams are headed off to the locker room. Well, the Ohio State defense, at least statistically, night and day since the time we saw them last. Remember, they had a big lead against Indiana and let the Hoosiers back in the game. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen today.
Coming into this game, there was a lot of questions about Ohio State. They've shown up, answered a lot of them.
Coming up after the break, it's the halftime report. Stand by. A word from our ABC stations.
Welcome back to the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by PlayStation 5 and the Big Ten on ABC. Just about set for the start of the third quarter at Spartan Stadium. All Buckeyes in the first half, 28-0. Bob Wischusen alongside Dan Orlovsky. Quinn Kesnick is with us as well. Well, if you weren't with us for the first half or at the start of the show, 3 of the starting 5 offensive linemen for the Buckeyes out today. They're also without Tuff Borland, the heart and soul of their defense. So we started by saying you're going to face some adversity if you're on a championship run at some point. They seem to be, and boy, did they handle adversity.
Yeah, I thought they handled it really well. It started from the first drive of the game. They went right down the field, and Justin Fields leads them to a huge touchdown. Their defense has been outstanding. They've managed the situations well. Their play calling has been outstanding for Kevin Wilson. So it's been a full team effort, and they've handled all those adverse situations so well. This is the first drive of the game for them. No one's open. Justin Fields, can you now do the right thing with the football when you get outside of the pocket? Early touchdown for them. I love the touch on this throw to Garrett Wilson towards that sideline. A huge start for this offense. But it hasn't just been a one-sided show. Haskell Garrett, get your hand up when you can't get to the quarterback. And not only that, but tip it to yourself and get a touchdown. The defense has been equally as impressive for this Buckeye football team.
That was our Pacific Life game summary. And Justin Fields with a touchdown through the air. He's got a couple on the ground. 75 yards rushing to go along with 117 yards receiving, and Ohio State will begin the third quarter with the football. Mario McCall will let it go through the back of the end zone. Quinn?
Yeah, Larry Johnson is having a great time, guys. He is. I spoke to him a moment ago. He was pointing to this as a program game where his second and third string offensive linemen have performed well so far, kind of challenged his team. A program that's known for stars being defined in this game by the effort of some of their backups. And Coach Johnson certainly widely respected throughout college football. Decades as a great defensive line coach, but I just couldn't get over the grin he just showed me and how much fun and joy he's having leading this group.
Well, if you get a chance to be the head coach for a day and your team has a 4-touchdown lead at halftime, you can think of worse places to spend a Saturday afternoon as Master Teague goes up the middle and Slade brings him down after a gain of a half yard.
He said he wasn't going to change the message. You know, he said that he wanted the culture to lead the way, and he really was going to try and live in the moment, have his players for the day at least to live in the moment and experience that joy of playing college football.
Long throw outside the numbers to Olave. It's good for 9 from Justin Fields. It'll be third down. We'll call it an 8-yard gain, third down and 2.
This is why I love that throw from Justin Fields. One hitch, ball comes out, goes to the right place, and it's on time. Play in rhythm like that.
Handles the low snap, lobs one down the sideline, can't drop it in to Olave. So there's a third down stop, a rare one today for Michigan State's defense.
You get man-to-man coverage, Olave on the right side of your screen. Stacks that defensive back, and that throw is just 3 or 4 inches too far. It's a great job of Olave getting on top of that defensive back, and just love to see a little bit more of a full extension there. Just a little bit off on that throw for Justin Fields.
Jaden Reed lets it bounce. Takes a Buckeye roll inside the 15-yard line. Well, our next UFC Fight Night tonight on ESPN2 from Las Vegas. The number 4 middleweight contender, Jack Hermanson, take on Marvin Vettori in the main event. The prelims start at 7 Eastern with the main card at 10 Eastern on ESPN2, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. still Peyton Thorne at quarterback. After Rocky Lombardi left towards the end of the first half with what appeared to be a head injury and a Tyreek Smith sack. Thorne was 6 for 6 for 35 yards in the first half, and he stays perfect. Finds Connor Hayward, and Hayward fights his way forward, picks up about 5. This was a scary moment for Rocky Lombardi. Driven down by Smith, looked like his head bounced off the turf, and he was taken back to the locker room, so we'll keep our fingers crossed that Rocky Lombardi is okay. And now it looks like we've got an Ohio State injury to deal with when we come back as well.
How do you go from where you are to where you want to be? And I think you have to have an enthusiasm for life. You have to have a dream, a goal, and you have to be willing to work for it.
During these challenging times, ESPN and the V Foundation's fight against cancer has not stopped. If you are able, please support cancer research by visiting v.org/donate. 100% of what you give goes to cancer research. Haskell Garrett, another tackle for loss, and a moment ago, Haskell Garrett landed on Shaun Wade. This was the injury. As we went to break, the full weight of Garrett coming down on the right leg of Shaun Wade. So that's an NFL corner trying to work it out over on the exercise bike on the Buckeye bench.
Yeah, remember, opted out and then opted back in. Probably one of the better corners in college football. Went from an inside player to an outside player. Something to keep an eye on.
3rd down and 5. Right at the first down line to gain, it's Jaden Reed. Nice job to wall off the safety Marcus Williamson and make that catch.
There's a really good job by Reed of sitting in that zone. He's got a shallow cross. He sees Williamson sitting there as a safety. Let me hook up. Peyton Thorne finds him. These guys grew up playing football together. They played in Pop Warner together. They've got a great chemistry and shows up there.
The action. Thorne right over the middle. He's got Jaden Reed again.
Sometimes while you do play action, watch these linebackers step up. Reed, hook up, ball come out right now. Peyton Thorne, awesome. The play action fake and then playing on time, seeing it the same way. Reed sit, Thorne ball out. Another first down for the Spartan offense.
19 yards out to the 43. Hayward. He picks up 4. Tyreek Smith then on the stop again.
Michigan State right now getting to some of these condensed splits, and it's helping their offenses. You're seeing Shaun Wade.
Talk with defense coordinator Kerry Coombs. What was your reaction when you found out Shaun Wade opted back in? He was like ecstatic?
Yeah.
I can't think of any other word. Said this is a young man that doesn't care what I ask him to do. He just wants to win. He's a coach's dream in that way. Thorne out of the pocket, keeps the play alive, and he'll run to midfield. That will bring up 3rd down and 3.
Try to take a double move shot, it's not there. Tyreek Smith steps down, he's got a chance at Peyton Thorne. He does a good job of escaping. Now eyes downfield, make your decision. Browning does an awesome job of closing that cushion. But a really good decision right there by Peyton Thorne. My coach has called the shot play. It's not there. You don't have to throw it.
Thorne sidearms one to Reed, and he's got the first down. Peyton Thorne changes the arm angle. A little creativity there.
The best thing he does here, watch his head. When you turn the corner after that play fake, you got to snap your head around. Find what's going on backside, snap your head, drop the arm angle, first down. That's well done by the young freshman out of Naperville.
A couple of yards for Connor Hayward. Peyton Thorne comes from a football family.
Yeah.
His grandfather, John, longtime high school coach, then coached in their hometown in Naperville, Division III North Central College. He's in that school's Hall of Fame. His dad played quarterback at Eastern Illinois, then was the offensive coordinator for Grandpa. Then when Grandpa retired, he took over. And for 15 years, he's been the head coach. So he not only was a coach's son, he was a coach's grandson. And you can see Peyton Thorne, he looks pretty comfortable back there running this offense.
Yeah, it seems like, I love the comfortable word you used, because we had that third down where he kind of climbed in the pocket, found Reed, the play action pass, the ball came out on time, and then that little bit of a keeper, that naked, understanding he had to snap his head around, that was really well done. 3rd and 4, this is something that Michigan State has really just tried to get those crossing routes, understanding that Ohio State loves to play man coverage in this situation. You're on this drive, trying to find a way to get a pick, a rub, a mesh route if you're one of these offensive players for Michigan State.
Spartans had 4 first downs in the first half. They've got 3 on this drive, looking for their 4th.
And this would tell me zone. Werner being walked out there over that slot receiver, that would tell me that I think I'm going to get some form of zone coverage out of this defense.
Spartans change their splits. It's a 4-man rush again. Thornton, they're trying to run for it. Thorne, pardon me, and he gets stood up at the 41-yard line and driven back.
Watch Ohio State zones it off in the pass rush. Thorne tries to climb, and it's a great fallback by Jean-Baptiste. Had the shallow cross coming, though. He had a cross coming from the left side. That's why that Werner information, where you see Pete Werner walked out over one of your receivers, they're not going to play that in man-to-man coverage, so you know that shallow cross has got a chance to be open in that vacated space. Get it out of your hands.
4th and 5 in plus territory. And Michigan State punts it away, down by 4 touchdowns. It's a fair catch for Garrett Wilson as we approach the midway point of the 3rd quarter.
What playing at Michigan State has meant to me is, just being part of one big Spartan Dog family.
Learned a lot of lessons here on and off the field.
I'm just gonna miss the boys, all the time spent together.
I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to pursue both, academics and athletics.
Well, that last young man you saw, Dominique Long, a mechanical engineering major with a 3.6 GPA, one of the players that should be celebrated on Senior Day. And we will certainly do our best to celebrate these Michigan State seniors on Senior Day as best we can. There's Antoine Simmons, who was on that list as well. One of the great traditions of college football that we've lost this year because of COVID, Senior Day. And a chance for all of these players to walk out there with their families and hear the crowd cheer their name. And Quint, it's one of the great traditions we've got in college football, and I can't wait for it to be back. And hopefully these players feel it today.
Yeah, Antoine is described as a patient, kind. He's got a magnetic personality. Leading tackler for the Spartan defense, who's shown tremendous growth and experienced some ups and downs, both off the field and on it. Remember, he broke his back in a bowl game back in 2017. He's a young man that wants to work with kids after college. He wants to be a special ed teacher. And according to the coaching staff, his personality, his ability to relate and to connect with youngsters will make him successful in that field.
Scotty Hazelton told us he is the heart and soul and leader of our defense. Hand off up the middle. Trey Sermon gets a couple of yards. And Antoine Simmons made arguably the play of the game back in the 2nd week of this shortened Big Ten season when Michigan State beat Michigan. Remember, the following week we were watching that tape because we had the Iowa game coming up next. And that was the play maybe of that entire game that you circled.
The Wildcat play, yeah, where he's the backside linebacker and they kind of run that Wildcat fake and jump pass, and he just has the awareness, the instincts to bat that ball away.
Fields just past the 1st down line to gain. It is Olave. Let's see if his own momentum took him back short of the 1st down, or if the officials will say forward progress gets Ohio State the 1st down.
Which is nice by Olave. counted reps, counted steps on that square out, and then be ready to get back towards that line of scrimmage when Justin Fields pulls you with that throw.
Looks like a good spot as his own momentum brought him back to the 36-yard line. So it will be 3rd down and 1. Fields with a handoff, and slicing through is Trey Sermon. Long strides looking for the end zone. Touchdown. Trey Sermon made one backdoor cut, and there was no one left for Michigan State.
Well, watch the offensive line. They're going to push everybody this way, and then this is the defender that's left over. Watch what Justin Fields' vision does to him. Freeze him for just a second. Sermon hangs it. Look at this crease now that you have for that offense. That's great. Sermon's got to hug that offensive line. Justin Fields hangs that defender out there for a second with that potential quarterback run. We'll finish there.
How about the quarterback all the way down the field making the block? That finishes off the touchdown run. And Wyatt Davis shaken up on the play. He's the only starting offensive lineman that is in his normal spot today for Ohio State. And still, they are a point after away from a 35-0 lead.
It was a really well blocked play. You know, that's why quarterback run matters so much. You close down, that defender hangs for a second, Sermon hugs it. Then you see that home run speed by the Oklahoma transfer. A huge start in the second half for the Buckeyes, up 35-0 on the road.
Bell's Nachos Party Pack. Delicious nachos topped with all your favorites. Only at Taco Bell.
Bob Wischusen, Dan Orlovsky, Quinn Kesnick. We return to what has been a statement game, Dan, so far today for the Buckeyes.
And really in adverse situations, on the road, without your head coach, we've talked about it, a bunch of players out, 3 offensive starters, and they've controlled the football game from the very first start, from the very first drive, and they've been impressive.
Fair catch called for and taken by Jaden Reed. And again, this is normally what the offensive line should look like for Ohio State. But with all the trials and tribulations they have gone through this month, this is the offensive line that they put out there today. Wyatt Davis in his right guard spot, that's the only guy that is normally part of the group of starters that's in his normal position.
And so when you have an offensive line that is in flux and then so far has played so well, it leads me to, well, they're really well coached. The young men themselves prepare. They're ready to go play in the football games. They've got great leadership. Wyatt Davis is a great leader both off the field and obviously on the field today, and they've taken advantage of the opportunity.
Peyton Thorne floats one down the sideline to Jaden Reed. Stays in bounds. Reed down to the 20-yard line. Marcus Williamson saved a touchdown.
Really trying to fake the bubble screen. Watch the tailback and then the defender at the bottom of the screen. That flat defender has his eyes in the wrong spot for just a second, and Reed sells that block and then slips down that sideline. Nice aggressive play call to start this drive.
He sold it perfectly.
Yeah.
That's the first really explosive play we've seen for Michigan State offensively today. And they are trying to get on the board now in the red zone. Quarterback keeper. Thorne has an alley. Looking for the pylon. He's in for the touchdown. Peyton Thorne hits pay dirt. And finally, Michigan State is on the board.
Watch the tight end cross the screen. Tyler Hunt leads up on Werner. And now it's you versus that free safety, Bryson Shaw. Great block on the perimeter by Trey Mosley, and so that's a nice, obviously, touchdown drive. You come out with that aggressive play call for Peyton Thorne. He gets the ball out. Huge completion to Jaden Reed, and then the touchdown on the zone read keep.
It looks like they are going to go to the replay booth to make sure this was a touchdown. Thorne did not go out of bounds. Inbounds, crosses the pylon there. And I would think this would be a quick confirmation.
It looks like his body gets inside that pylon, right?
This would be his first rushing touchdown. He made his debut earlier this season in the Iowa game, which is a lopsided loss. And then Rocky Lombardi really struggled against Indiana. And they made a quarterback change, and they brought Peyton Thorne into that game.
After review, the ruling on the field of a touchdown is confirmed.
And now with Rocky Lombardi being knocked out in the first half, it looks like this is Peyton Thorne's game the rest of the way. And he finally puts the Spartans in the end zone. Coughlin tacks on the point after. 35-7. Peyton Thorne, by the way, 11 of 11 for 122 yards to go along now with the rushing touchdown. And at least Michigan State starting to feel something good about their offense in the second half.
Well, he had the drive right before the half, right, as well, where on that quarterback run, it looked like on that fourth down they were going to get the conversion. Credit Ohio State, they forced that fumble. And then they came out in the second half and went on a relatively good drive. And they're in between, do you go for it on 4th and 3 on the positive side of the field? Do you not? They decide to punt, but that was a really good drive that they came out aggressively in the first pass.
This is a young Michigan State team as well. 46 freshmen. 34 sophomores. Only 16 seniors, as we showed you earlier on this roster. Barely getting out across the 20-yard line is DeMario McCall. As we check in with Kevin.
They need to win that one, right? And I know you're on the road. It's a 3-loss Auburn team, so tough SEC game. It's probably just find a way to win that game. I don't think you need to be overly impressive in that game if you're Texas A&M.
Well, the question is, does Texas A&M have the chance, if the games with the teams in front of them play out the way we think they will? Alabama beats Florida.
Right.
Notre Dame and Clemson play a pretty close ACC championship game. Ohio State runs the table. They win the Big Ten. They go 7-0. Are there enough style points for Texas A&M? How many style points do they need? Or if they simply run the table, are they worthy of being in the top 4?
So I think if everything plays out to expectation, it's going to be Alabama's a lock, Clemson's a lock, and then Ohio State would be a lock.
So you think the way it plays out to expectation is Trevor Lawrence is back for Clemson.
Correct.
They beat Notre Dame.
And I know that they scored a lot of points when they played Notre Dame and lost when Trevor didn't play, but it's still the best player in college football and the lock #1 pick not being in that game. So if all 3 of those things happen to expectation, then it really comes down to Notre Dame. How does that game look? How do they lose? And Texas A&M
loses the football. And it looks like they will call that a catch, a fumble, and Antoine Simmons on the recovery. A Michigan State takeaway.
Fumbled, recovered by the defense for a first down.
Second time Olave has fumbled in the game. Earlier, his teammates bailed him out. This time, it's Antoine Simmons to recover.
It's a great hit by Chase Klein. He's playing high. He drives on the football. Olave's trying loose with the football there. You see that left hand, just a little bit loose there. Trying to make a play, trying to make a move on Klein, and that ball pops out. Mel Tucker talked about this, right, yesterday with us. he went on a 15-minute conversation about consistency, the obsession with consistency, that we have moments when we play really good football and then moments where we get bad, and he's really straining on this team. He needs consistent performance.
Peyton Thorne, that may have been intercepted. Shaun Wade back in the game, and he makes an impact. As Peyton Thorne led Naylor just a little too far, and Wade with a takeaway for Ohio State gives the Buckeyes the football right back.
This is just a remarkable play by Wade. Little play fake, you're trying to get a wrap slant in behind, it's a step too far, but how about that? You want to talk about ball skills and hand-eye coordination, watch this. I mean, that is a spectacular play by Shaun Wade.
And was it me, or did Naylor get just a little piece of the football and Wade still caught it, even off of that slight carom?
For sure. That hand-eye coordination, that tracking the football, and then the ability just fully extended, getting that left arm on the ball and kind of rolling underneath. Just a little bit of a miss by Peyton Thorne. Just half a yard too far, but credit the Ohio State defense. Quick turnaround, get the turnover.
Wade's second pick this season and the 6th of his career. And here's Trey Sermon for 5 yards. Well, if there was any chance for Michigan State to just breathe a little life back in this game, it was to get the takeaway, stick it in the end zone. You've got your quarterback on a roll, feeling really good about himself. How about that's the first incompletion of the game for Peyton Thorne, and it's a pick.
The thing that makes you a little bit sick about it is it was there. The throw was there. It was the right call, and you had that window. He's been so accurate with the football, and it just shows that little bit of a miss by a foot, and the great play by Shaun Wade is the difference.
Flag down, out of bounds after the play was over. Sermon on the carry. It was a good job initially by Michigan State to stand him up, but an extra hit out of bounds.
I think they're going to get Chase Klein right there. Watch 21. Drive, 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 drive. At some point, you got to stop driving.
Personal foul. Defense, number 21. Late hit out of bounds. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
You can see the head coach. I mean, he knows how close his team may have been to creating some belief on the sideline. And not only do you commit a turnover, but then right after the turnover, you're about to force a third down. Maybe your defense gets back off the field. Maybe they get another takeaway.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, head coach, Michigan State.
And now we've got another 15 yards tacked up.
Automatic first down. This is his first foul, which leads towards disqualification.
I think that Mel is saying he's yelling at his guy.
And do you think the officials mistook Mel Tucker yelling at Chase Klein for yelling at them?
That's what I mean, if you're watching just the body language, he's eyeing up Chase Klein, and that's his anger of, we don't want to give them anything, and that's giving Ohio State yardage. And so I think that the officials are going, is he talking to us? I think that's an incorrect judgment by them.
Wide receiver screen to Julian Fleming. Freshman's across midfield.
And the weird thing, back to that moment with Mel Tucker, there's no fans. So hearing, maybe that's, I don't know, the double-edged sword.
You can hear every magic word out there.
A lot of things, a lot more things, but.
A rollout for Fields. Gets to the edge and cruises for the first down. Now we think, going back, that it may be Mel Tucker tossing his headset. And you can see his frustration. He's yelling at his player. When he tossed the headset, he tossed it accidentally, I think, in the direction of the field of play. So the officials see the headset fly out on the field, and they give him 15 yards for unsportsmanlike conduct. I still think you're right, though. I think that's them misinterpreting his anger being directed towards the officials when it was at his own player.
This would just feel like an opportunity for Ohio State to take a shot here. They got man coverage.
Another bobble on the snap, and Fields will keep it and make something happen again on his own, down to the 10-yard line. no matter how many times the snap has been off schedule, Fields never gets thrown by.
Look at the reactions right there. Like the reaction to catch the snap, go to make the handoff to Sermon. It's not there, and then go to make some plays. Gosh, the hand-eye reaction. And then the decision-making has just been so awesome today by Justin Fields. I wish that ball comes back so fast when that's coming hot like that. I mean, it is such a reaction. Just try to get a hand on it, and he's done it every single time today.
Sermon, no gain. It's a career high rushing for Justin Fields. He's up to 108 yards on the ground to go with a $158 and a touchdown through the air.
And again, a lot of them have just been those like creative yards. There's really only been, I don't know, 2 designed or called quarterback runs. A lot of them is him just catching a bad snap, no one being open, and using his feet to provide offense.
Out of the pocket. And he'll throw this one away. Good coverage through the end zone by Michigan State. He had nowhere to go with the ball as Jacob Slade forced him to throw it away.
We talked about then what. Okay, so bad snap. Then what do I do? Try not to do too much. Pick it up and just go be an athlete. That's a first down conversion. Down in the red zone, no one's open. Then what do I do? Keep my eyes downfield. I'm outside of the pocket. Make the right decision. Have a plan when you get outside of there. Third down. Place covered up. Then what do I do? Again, go be an athlete. Get that conversion. That's where he's been so good today, is understanding the process of thought and doing the right thing with the football and his decision making.
And with the play clock winding down, looked like Larry Johnson from the sideline.
Timeout.
Along with Kevin Wilson, recognized that, so they got a timeout called with 1:16 to go in the third quarter, and we check in with Quinn.
Well, it was Ryan Day, who's watching this game at home right now on his couch, who said about Justin Fields, learn to throw it away, grow from it, cut your losses. And that last play I thought was a perfect example of him looking to make a play, but then not forcing it.
Well, I think that brings us, Dan, to what Ryan Day, further told us. Said, look, there's 1 or 2 plays that can ruin your day. He doesn't make them.
I just want you to watch the right side of the screen. Okay, freeze it right now. Okay, this is what NFL scouts are going to want to know. Why is the ball not getting thrown there, down in the red zone? This guy jumping is not a deal. Like, why is that ball not out of Justin Fields' hands in that moment? Right, and so there's been 2 moments. Okay, we're talking about a guy that's going to be in the consideration for the 2nd pick of the draft, right? And so sometimes in the pass game, the guy is there and he won't pull the trigger, or the guy's not there and he gets hung on him. Those are the conversations that scouts and GMs are going to want to sit down and have with him.
Here's 3rd and goal, and once again he's out of the pocket. Floats one to the front left pylon, looking for McCall. Is he in? The officials aren't sure if he has complete control of the football.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass.
They're going to say DeMario McCall did not have complete control. He was still juggling it as he went out of bounds. And that's a good call. That ball hit the ground before he had complete control, regardless of the juggle.
That's disappointing because it's a great play by Justin Fields and getting outside the pocket and throwing that ball to only a spot where McCall can go get it. And just, that ball he catches the back end, just that back nose of the football.
Here's Hawbeal to try and tack on 3 more from short range, 27 yards out. It is good, but there is a flag down.
The field goal is good. Sideline warning against Ohio State.
Well, Dan, Mel Kiper Jr. and Todd McShay don't agree on everything. That's probably an understatement. But one thing where right now they are in exact agreement, this is how they have the top 6 draft-eligible quarterbacks all ranked. Everyone's got Trevor Lawrence first. They both have Justin Fields number 2, all the way down to Kyle Trask at number 6.
And if you look at really the first 4, Lawrence, Fields, Lance, and Wilson, they're the athletes. They're the playmakers, and you need to be a playmaker at quarterback in the NFL right now. Now, speaking specifically to Justin Fields, I talked to you about this start of the game. I had conversations with people this week that are in positions of decision-making in the NFL that said, we want to watch how he bounces back this game. We're going to study that Indiana game and figure out why it happened that way. I know a person in the NFL who is going to rank Justin Fields behind Trey Lance when it comes to the upcoming NFL draft order. That
So
they
he
like
would have
Trey,
him third?
Correct. They would like Trey Lance better, even though he plays at a smaller school and he's only played one game this year. And he said that some of that indecision from Justin Fields, they want to dive into why is there some indecision. Now, Ryan Day, I thought, made a great point when we talked to him about Justin Fields yesterday. He said, listen, the more he plays, the better he's gotten. This is a young man that has only 19 starts at college football. Like, the more he plays, because he's got all these physical traits, the athleticism, the big arm, the accuracy, the movement in the pocket, the touch. He's got all those physical those traits that you look for. But the playing the quarterback, right? The seeing things and trusting your eyes and getting it out and throwing to windows when number one isn't there, that's where they want to see the development.
So if you're going to draft him and say Trevor Lawrence is the automatic number one, everyone agrees. So you're going to put your faith in Justin Fields at number two. How much of the will he eventually be able to see it are you thinking you can coach into him at the NFL level where the natural ability is there? You can see him throw it, you can see him get out of the pocket creatively, right. He can do all of that. How hard is it at the NFL to coach a quarterback to now be able to go see?
I think it's a lot easier now than it was 20 years ago.
Why?
Well, because the quarterback athletically allows that to the field to be utilized differently. You know, the RPO game is a simpler teaching process. If that defender stays outside, you're handing the ball off. If that defender goes towards the run, and you can get a lot of easy completions that way. Those are number one built-in receivers, though, like number one as far as the progression. I also think the understanding of space in football, like coaches understand that they can create space and they give those, if this one defender, that's their only read, you know, because of the understanding of that and the usage of it. So I think it's easier. It takes time. You've got to be committed to it. That's why I said Josh Allen was a good reference, because he has developed so good in that aspect that I think Justin Fields is going to need that really good coaching when it comes to that.
It's going to be a very interesting analysis of a player as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft. We get closer and closer to Ohio State's 5th win of the season. End of the third quarter. Buckeyes in control. Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by PlayStation 5. We continue Dr. Pepper's Championship Drive Game of the Week. And it is overdrive today for the Buckeyes. We start the fourth quarter with Ohio State on top. 38-7. Peyton Thorne spins away from the rush. Keeps the play alive. He's going to tuck it under and get what he can. Nice cutback, close to a first down. Eventually brought down by Ronnie Hickman, about a yard shy of a first down. So it's 4th down and 1.
I mean, if I'm Mel Tucker, I'm going for this. 4th and 1. I didn't go for a 4th and short when I was on the positive side of the field. They went to quarterback run last time in this short yardage situation. Let's go. Ball to the open side.
Bunch set up top. Let's see if Thorne looks that way.
I think he can run the ball off the right side with Werner walked out that way.
A little confusion in the backfield with Connor Hayward. They get the snap off. There is the screen. And they block it up and get the first down. Jalen Naylor's got it. Well-designed play and a 4th down conversion for the Spartans.
Really nice blocking out front. See that just one miss, right? That one miss for Peyton Thorne. Other than that, he's been very good with his decision-making and his ball placement.
4-man rush. He's on target again. He is decisive. And it doesn't take long for Peyton Thorne to spot his target, and that ball's gone. Picks up 10 there to nail it.
Watch the tight end, okay? Once 47, Hilliard carries vertical, ball comes out of your hand outside. That guy vacates that space, replace him with the football, completion.
Hayward spun down after a gain of a yard. Jean-Baptiste is there to make the stop.
We've seen Peyton Thorne twice this year. We've had Michigan State twice. We've seen Peyton Thorne twice. And this very much so is like this opportunity to go, okay, coach, I can operate our offense better. Nothing against Rocky Lombardi. But when it comes to our offense, we're a better passing game offense, at least rhythmically, with Peyton Thorne than it is with Rocky Lombardi.
Play action here. He's looking downfield. Instead, he'll tuck it under and run again and pick up a first down and more. Peyton Thorne gets a block. He gets another. And he's out of bounds at the 15-yard line.
This is just really good pocket feel, understanding. You go with your play action shot, a little bit loose in the middle of that pocket. 2 hands on the football. Okay, now squeeze those defenders, pounce off. This is an opportunity for you to prove to your coaching staff and to your teammates, I can go do the job as well. This is my chance to get on the field, and I've been ready. He was running the line of scrimmage very well and making good post-snap decisions.
A little shoulder hitch, and he'll throw it away this time. Now, talking to an offensive coach one time, I thought he summed it up perfectly, and it seems to apply to Peyton Thorne. That bad quarterbacks, when the rush is coming, are looking at the rush. Good quarterbacks, when the rush is coming, are still always eyes downfield. And for a redshirt freshman, no matter how much pressure it seems Ohio State has thrown at him, it seems like his eyes have been very comfortably downfield.
Yeah, and that's something that's very difficult to try and fix, because it is such a in-the-moment, a tenth of a second by a tenth of a second experience. And for the ability to kind of play under duress and never panic with the football, or not panic, is a very good sign.
Second down and 10 from the 15. He'll float one into the end zone, and that's broken up. Marcus Hooker came over and knocked it away. That close to a Trey Mosley touchdown.
It's an outstanding play by Hooker. He's playing a half-field safety cover 2. Mosley wide and release corner. Watch Hooker come from that top left corner screen, and then watch the left hand right in there. So often we see defensive backs get that right hand involved, and you tug. Stayed high, broke on the football, brought that left hand. Now for Peyton Thorne, you're 4-down territory. So this is good situational kind of experience for him. Knowing we're going to go for it on 4th down, making sure that I can get the ball out for a completion.
And now it will be 4th and 10 after the throwaway.
Like it by Ohio State, bringing pressure in that situation, kind of dictating to Peyton Thorne in that offense. Now you have to kick it.
So Mel Tucker, this is probably about the mentality of your football team, just wanting to feel good about yourselves rather than going for it on 4th and 10. He's going to take the 3. And Coughlin puts it through, and it's 38-10 Ohio State. Just under 12 minutes to go.
Something to believe. ESPN, home of the college football playoff.
We are back with our Pacific Life game summary. And Dan, Justin Fields with 266 yards of total offense and 3 touchdowns, responsible for playing behind the makeshift offensive line.
Yeah, Justin's been great with his decision making, with his valuing of the football. Hasn't taken negative plays. He's gotten it out of his hands when it hasn't been there. He's made plays when the defense kind of won the rep. And this offensive line, credit them. They've done a really good job in their run game and also putting a wall in front of him as a passer.
Now, what has been on the nerves of everyone in Columbus has been the championship game policy for the Big Ten. That teams have to play at least 6 games unless the average number of games played by all teams falls below 6. Well, that's not going to happen. So you wondered if Ohio State playing their 5th game today, which was up in the air a week ago, and now they are scheduled to play Michigan in the rivalry game in the Big Ten next Saturday, but Michigan canceling their game today. You know, what the circumstance could be if the Buckeyes don't play the 6-game minimum requirement to make it to the Big Ten championship game. Here's Fields off play action, looking for a check down. Nothing's there. And he will take the sack back to the 21-yard line. Well, I guess part of that answer was delivered by arguably the most powerful athletic director in the Big Ten, Barry Alvarez. And he told the Detroit News, I would think that if something would happen to Ohio State and they'd have to cancel another game, that's something we've got to revisit. They're sitting up there at number 4. Our league can't keep them from having the opportunity, if they have one, to have a chance to be in the finals. So basically, Barry Alvarez is saying, we'll change the rules if necessary. And it's not unheard of this year as Jamison Williams makes a catch with a flag down, but that would be the Big Ten basically saying, for Ohio State, we will change how we will do this to make sure they can make the college football.
And I don't think for the best team in our conference, or the team that has our best representation chance.
Offside. Defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Best chance for representation in the college football playoff, we've got to make the exception this year. Because here's the thing, and I think it speaks directly to Kevin Warren, the Big Ten commissioner. Like, listen, there's been a lot of question marks of how they've handled this year and the lack of flexibility, the lack of built-in flexibility for the Big Ten Conference. You didn't make the right decision then. You've got to make the decision right now. And that's kind of what Alvarez is kind of hinting towards. Like, we've got to be able to change some things to make sure that we're represented if we've got one of the 4 better teams.
I mean, in this craziest of crazy years, Williams runs for about a yard. All everyone in college football has done is improvise.
Correct.
We've been improvising since day one.
Officials timeout for an offensive injury. This will also be a media timeout.
And it looks like that is Wyatt Davis down and injured. So we'll step aside.
College football on ABC is presented by PlayStation 5. Play has no limits. And in part by Pacific Life, more than 150 years strong. Trust in your tomorrow.
Boy, do we need the fans back. I mean, it's great to have cute children wearing the Buckeye colors, the Spartan colors in their homes, but we even need the dogs back in the stadium. It's just the most backwards year than you could ever imagine as Garrett Wilson takes off early and costs Ohio State 5 yards.
False start. Offense, number 5. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So we have the first result of the top 6 today playing in the college football playoff rankings. Texas A&M has defeated Auburn 31-20. And that's a really nice win. Texas A&M to go on the road, put 31 points up against a team that was ranked before they lost to Alabama in the Iron Bowl. And Auburn, granted, they are now a 4-loss team this season, but they've still been competitive in a fair number of their games, and that's a pretty good win for Texas A&M. You start to talk about, pictures in the brochure that eventually the College Football Playoff Committee is going to have to look at, Dan, with all 6 of these teams if things go the way we expect them to go.
I think the 31 points stands out for Texas A&M for me. We had them again last week, and their offense looked inept in many ways. And so to go on the road against a good SEC defense and score 31 is a big deal. Okay, I'm banking on Alabama winning tonight, okay? And then I'm banking on Alabama and Florida seeing each other in the SEC title game. That's a fascinating one because Ohio State fans don't want to hear it, but what happens if Florida beats Alabama on a game-winning kick? And then that's 2 spots potentially that are chewed up out of those college football playoff 4.
Another really good kick from Chrisman. All the way down inside the 10-yard line. It will roll down inside the 5 and roll dead at the 2. That's the second time today that he has pinned Michigan State right up against their own goal line as we check in with Kevin. All right, Kevin, so it's a 38-10 lead for Ohio State over Michigan State. 9.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And Michigan State has looked like a different offense in the second half with Peyton Thorne moving the ball.
Yeah, first of all, Chrisman just hit a 74-yard punt. That's unbelievable. Yes, Michigan State offensively has looked, I think the word that stands out is rhythm. They just look so much more in rhythm as an offense with him.
And off play action, they show the confidence to let him sling it from the end zone. Throws one to the sideline, and that was a dangerous throw that Wade had a chance at for potentially his second interception of the game.
They're trying to get this play action pass off. Wade stays disciplined at home. Almost gets his second pick of the game. I think that throw was a little bit affected, Peyton Thorne, by that defensive line for Ohio State. It's a scary place back here, man. How come I feel like every game that I broadcast, a quarterback gets put in a situation where they're at the 1-yard line?
Why would you say that? Does this bring up a bad memory?
I'm just hoping the end zone's measured correctly.
Are you suggesting for at least one play in your career it was not?
You can't prove to me it was. You can't prove to me that that end zone in Minnesota was 30 feet.
You think Jared Allen had him shrink it by a yard or two just to make sure he could be there?
They made that big white out of bounds marker that I had no idea it was there, even though I was in it a yard deep. Like, they made it a yard too wide.
3rd down and 9.
It's actually a very similar form.
Dan.
Four-man rush. Thorne. That ball pops up in the air and ends up incomplete off the hands of Trey Mosley. So it'll be a punt from the end zone for Michigan State. Quint?
Those dark and dangerous end zones of Rentschler Field, especially the right end zone where they used to bus the students from campus 45 minutes, hanging all over the pads, getting all over the Huskies.
You know the state of Connecticut, notorious for their love of college football.
Yes.
Very similar to Big Ten country in the SEC.
Well, I mean, when we think of the great college football towns in America, obviously, you know, Tuscaloosa and Ann Arbor and College Station and Columbus and
Hartford,
you know, East Hartford. And Jigba is dragged down in plus territory. And that line's a little thinner back there. I think that's 10 yards deep, though. Tonight with Trevor Lawrence back, number 3 Clemson. They'll head to Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech. Our coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern here on ABC and also on the ESPN app. Bob Wischusen, Dan Orlovsky, and Quinn Kesnick. And for all the talk we have of how the last 4 could end up in the college football playoffs, Justin Fields goes back to work. 1st and 10 off play action. He's going to take a shot down the sideline. Drops it in with a flag down. Olave's got a touchdown. Let's check the penalty marker to see if the Olave touchdown stands.
I think it's going to stand. I think they're going to get Michigan State on illegal hands to the face on the release.
That's Kalen Gervin Michigan State's corners down and injured as he was trying to stay with Olave.
That's nice. Watch him slow play it off the line of scrimmage and then kind of squeeze to go track that football. Squeeze Gervin to go track that ball.
Personal foul. Illegal hands to the face. Defense number 29. The result of the play is a touchdown. The penalty will be enforced on the succeeding kickoff.
We asked Ryan Day about Chris Olave. He said, look, he's a pro. He's made so many big clutch catches over the years that Garrett Wilson has, as a sophomore, kind of a limitless ceiling of talent. Right. But Olave is not as physically talented as a Garrett Wilson. But when you look at how polished his game is, just a professional receiver in waiting.
Yeah, I think the two things that I love of Olave's game are he's got great ball skills. We saw that on display there, right? You saw the squeeze at the end for that touchdown reception. And then he's very efficient with his route running. We kind of saw it there again with the walk off the line of scrimmage. A lot of different ways you can utilize to get yourself open. Garrett Wilson is a guy that, 128 yards a game. I mean, 7th best in the country right now. He's one of the best starts in Ohio State history at receiver. So there's a ton of talent there. Olave just is super refined. This is what I'm talking about. This is route running, okay? Like, walk off the line of scrimmage, now burst, track the football, watch the squeeze, watch squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Late hands to go make that touchdown. Another score for this Ohio State offense.
Well, the Chris Olave touchdown, Kevin, stretches the Ohio State lead to 45-10. This is probably, if not his best game of the season, maybe his second best. He had a 7-catch, 120-yard, 2-touchdown performance against Penn State. 10 catches for Chris Olave today, 139 yards and a touchdown. Quint, he has been terrific.
Yeah, and his path to Ohio State's a little interesting and revolves around Jack Tuttle, former recruit of the Buckeyes. Ryan Day went out to watch Jack Tuttle throw in California, and the high school coach brought out a receiver. They threw the ball around, and he asked him, who's the receiver? He said, well, he's a junior. He's not eligible to play this year because his family just moved into the district, so no one knew about him. Ryan Day ends up signing Chris Olave. He's the second to last member of the Buckeye recruiting class. Almost an afterthought. And here he is a couple years later. Jack Tuttle ended up transferring to Indiana. Meanwhile, Chris Olave is on his way to the NFL via Ohio State.
That's a great story. Shows sometimes that happens in recruiting where you're going to look for a certain guy and then there's another guy that just catches your eye and what you're looking for.
Swing pass, Jaden Reed, nowhere to go. Immediately hit. Kayvon Pope.
This is what he does so well, okay. I like that at the top, that snap, that suddenness on that slant. I love that route. This is that stepped off out route, but then come back to the football. The walk off the line of scrimmage, I love that. And then I mentioned it's squeezing that DB. Don't allow the DB to separate you from the ball in those late hands. There's a lot of refined route running there, more so than this dominant physical talent. The ability to get open will always be the most important aspect when it comes to playing receiver. I don't care what level you're at. They're coached really well. Brian Hartline, probably one of the better wide receiver coaches in college football. And Olave is one of the better ones.
Tipped ball, incomplete, intended for Trey Mosley. Who's the best route runner that you ever played with? Where maybe you're sitting there saying, you know what, this guy may not be the top athlete.
Right.
He's not naturally gifted the way some guys might be, just go beat you with their physical ability, but from just a professional route running ability, he wins all the time.
Best guy that I ever played with was Reggie Wayne. Reggie was a guy that there was a little bit of physical, route running wise. There was physical talent there, but Reggie had this great understanding of the ability to change pace in his route running. He would burst and slow down. understanding to set guys up. If I want to go out, I want to set them up inside.
That looks exactly what you just showed with Chris Olave.
Late hands. You know, he had this such confidence in his hands that it wasn't obvious to defensive backs when he was going to go make the catch. And just a lot of his routes looked the same. You know, comebacks, out routes, in routes, slants. They all looked the same for those first 4 or 5 steps. That's what made him so good, is it all looked very similar. So he was the best route runner. I played with some physical freaks.
Right.
Calvin Johnson was an immense talent. He was also a very good route runner, but not like with the detail that Reggie ran with.
Probably didn't need it.
Correct, yeah. You're 6'5", 230 pounds, and you're named after a transformer, but Reggie was, Reggie had that unique ability to get open no matter what the coverage.
C.J. Stroud back in the game at quarterback now as Justin Fields' day is done. Ian Williams is able to crab crawl for a few yards. Stroud only a freshman, his second career appearance, but certainly comes with an impressive pedigree as part of our ESPN 300, nearly a top 100 player. Williams again. He's got a first down. He grinds out about 6 more yards. So the day done for Justin Fields. Nearly 200 yards passing, over 100 yards rushing.
I love the decision making. How about this? In the pocket, Slade spins off, 2 hands on the ball, eyes downfield. We've talked about the ability to go make some plays. This one's awesome. You see Wilson on that out, up, and come back. The ball's got to get up over that defender. It's the beautiful touch throw by Justin Fields. So he's done a little bit with his feet. He's done a lot of it with his feet. He's been great with his ball placement, his decision making, taking bad plays and just kind of making them into something. I've been very impressed with him today. This is exactly the performance that me personally I wanted to see out of him.
Williams again. He's got 5 more yards. It's hard to remind yourself that Justin Fields is on his way to the NFL. He looks exactly the same, like facially, as he did when he was a little boy. And apparently he learned the moves that he used in the pregame, like get everybody excited huddle, back when he was that little boy.
Well, when you're one of the better quarterbacks in college football, you don't struggle with confidence, but it seemed as a young child he didn't struggle with confidence there either. So I guess to become one of the better ones, you've got to think of yourself in that aspect.
Williams uses the stiff arm, bounces it outside, and he's got a first down.
That really, the video only makes me think of, is there some form of video of a young Bob with shoes and dancing?
Sure. What do you think it would look like?
You know those blow up dolls that blow all over the place in front of car dealerships?
Right.
That's what I think that you would look like when
That's probably giving me too much credit. I would think it would look more like those inflatable sumo wrestlers that they see at like halftime of an NBA game.
Just call yourself a blow-up sumo wrestler.
On keeper and in the open field is C.J. Stroud. And he's going to find his way to the end zone. The freshman scores, and Justin Fields couldn't be happier for his protege. He may be waiting in the wings to take over after Fields heads to the NFL. Ohio State is leaving, no doubt. You talked about the fact you didn't think Paul Feinbaum was necessarily right when he said Ohio State needed some resume points here. Well, I think they've found 52 and then some.
How about the backup quarterback coming in? You see that pull from the backside fullback, zone read, and then the ability to run away. The celebration. Fields cheering them on, Olave cheering them on. Good for these guys. Again, there's so much that these young student athletes are dealing with. And just, there's a lot of, negativity. Stuff. I want to say a different word, but stuff that they've got to deal with throughout the week. And for them to have the opportunity to come out and just have some fun and not have to go, okay, you got to do this, and you can't do this, and you can't do that, and you be here. To just come out and have some fun is great.
The thing that you said during our meetings, getting ready for this game, that Ryan Day said that really caught your ear was, he said, I have to coach them away from their phones as much as I have to coach them about football.
He said, I have to find ways to out-influence what's in their phone. And it's not just tied to, Instagram. It's when you look at your phone, it's everything that's going on, and you're just being consumed by it. And kids naturally are much more into their phone nowadays than ever, and he said it's a challenge to try and out-influence what's in their phone at a time when I don't sit down with them and spend eye-to-eye time with them. We're in Zoom meetings all the time. How do I figure out the way to do that when I'm not person-to-person?
Well, the only person in America universally praised on Twitter is Kevin Nagano. Let's check in with him. Got about 4 minutes to go in our game. Peyton Thorne will hand one off to Elijah Collins here. Let's go to Quinn.
Two quotes, guys, following up on what you're just talking about that really resonated with me this week. Ryan Day saying the players miss their parents. It's been a very different year for that dynamic. And then Mel Tucker telling us Thanksgiving was a PowerPoint slide of a turkey put up on a big screen. Happy Thanksgiving. I mean, what these young men are going through is certainly challenging.
It's an errant pass from Peyton Thorne, and no different than what everyone that is obeying the rules right now is going through when you're away from your family, you're in your house, you're not able to travel, you're not able to see loved ones. And for these young men that only a couple of years ago were living with their loved ones, and now they're away at school, and normally on college football Saturdays, you're there to hug mom and dad after the game.
And I think that's the big difference is, people like myself or older, you who are very old, we're mature, emotionally mature enough to handle all that.
Sometimes.
I think for an 18, 19-year-old who's thrust into this environment, Drew Stanton just texted me, the word you were looking for was consternation. Correct. They've got so much consternation going on. The emotional maturity to handle all that is really, I think, what gets tested, and not having kind of some of the people that you've been able to turn to and spend time with to help get through.
First down catch by Tyler Hunt.
Stanton doesn't text me twice a year, and the first time he does it is because I can't think of a word.
To throw a triple word score at you. And, expose your meager vocabulary. Thorne, 3 yard. Well, Ryan Day was pointing out as well, these kids are 18, 19, 20 years old.
Yes.
They are now in a major spotlight, but they've all come from nothing but praise. Every player for either of these programs on the field, if you're playing in the Big Ten, you were a star.
Yes.
In your high school. Universally praised for everything you've done athletically. And now you're in a spot where every troll out there has an avenue to you to poke you and say something horrible about you. As Thorne is under pressure and heaves one to the sideline. And there is a flag down. And don't think for a second that these kids, Ryan Day knows it, when they are on their phone all the time, aren't affected by that.
It's a lot to handle. I always love the quote, never take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. That's easy for me to soak in. I think it'd be very difficult for that 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old to actually buy into that, right? And handling it the right way. But I think when you've got leadership like Ryan Day, I always say this, the joy of coaching or getting the call.
Downfield, offense number 71. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
The joy of getting to call college football games is you spend time with these coaches and you can just hear their wisdom that they can share with you, the leadership that they can share on or give and lead their programs. And while there's a lot for these young men to have to handle, they've got great leaders. Both Ryan Day and Mel Tucker, great leadership from their head coaches.
Down goes Thorne back on Michigan State's side of the 50. And Mel Tucker taking over on short notice this season, coming over from Colorado in his first year with the Spartans, but spending some time talking to him yesterday. And you could tell the message was delivered. There is a culture that he wants these players to grasp onto, that he wants to instill as well.
I'm looking at my notes. Okay, so every day he wants them to know where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do. They've got to strain to do everything that they're asked. The culture is he calls it a no BS culture, right? He's a very black and white, remain neutral, facts over feeling type of leader.
Well, we'll keep our eye on the Notre Dame-Syracuse game. We will certainly have Clemson on the road tonight in a dangerous spot at Lane Stadium. And it was the point I was making earlier. We have gone back and forth about the college football playoff top 6. And no matter how many predictions we'd like to make, what happens if Florida upsets Alabama, Clemson and Notre Dame, how might the ACC championship game play out? How would that affect Ohio State and Texas A&M? One thing where college football oftentimes is undefeated, something's going to happen to one of these teams that you didn't see coming. Like Clemson all of a sudden loses tonight on the road against Virginia Tech. You never know.
Well, I woke up this morning and I saw that Matt Barry sent out a tweet that said, "Morning, college football Saturday, there will be an upset." And obviously us calling it a highly ranked team, I'm like, whoa, you never know. I don't know who's going to play. And now seeing Notre Dame and Syracuse going, okay, yeah, I mean, that is something that makes college football so amazing. And that's why I think making the college football playoff this year, you can say is one of the most challenging ones to ever make it because of everything that they've got to climb over.
Yeah, my point being, I guess, say on behalf of a team like Texas A&M, that as the ball gets snapped back into the end zone and Jack Miller has to go cover it up for 2 points. So the errant snap becomes a safety, and Michigan State gets a freebie on defense. But something like this happens.
Sure.
And this is college football encapsulated in one play. You never know what might happen. So you're sitting here saying, Texas A&M, they have to have style points because this, and this is going to happen. And yet at some point, maybe one of those 4 teams that's ahead of Texas A&M just flat out loses a game on a bad day that you can't ever imagine a team in front of them would lose. And if Texas A&M handles their business, without even needing style points, they might find themselves in the top 4.
No question. And that's why I think for Ohio State should say 4-0 eventually here in the next minute. But
we might advance them to 5-0?
Yeah, well, I think
probably
we can be confident in that. I think that, now we're into these last couple weeks of the season, and everybody's heightened about what the situation is or what happens if this was the butterfly effect of everything. And so the challenge for these coaches is going to be, especially with the coaches that are in that top 6 or 7 grouping, getting your young men to focus on that week will be the big deal because they listen. Ohio State's listening. Well, A&M's listening. They're looking at what needs to happen. Do we need to win by more points? Getting your kids to focus on that game will be huge.
Last year, we called South Carolina at Georgia, Oklahoma at Kansas State. 2 teams that were both ranked in the top 5, Georgia and Oklahoma. And if memory serves, we're both probably 3 touchdown favorites in those respective games. Both teams lost. It's just what happens in college football. Let's check in as the ball pops out, and Ohio State looks like they have a fumble recovery off the free kick with less than a minute to go, and they do. Let's check in with Kevin.
was a fumble recovered by Ohio State. First down.
And Kevin, it should not be long before we get you to the Badgers and the Hoosiers. 53 seconds to go, and Ohio State with a 40-point lead, and they've got the ball back.
And I still think coming out of today, Ohio State's the 4th-ranked team in the country. You know, depending on what happens to the rest of that Notre Dame-Syracuse game. But I will say this, I'm incredibly impressed. I said to you this week, first of all, that Indiana team, it's a darn good Indiana football team. Don't look at it as goes, oh, they only beat Indiana by a touchdown. They're a really, really good football team in Indiana. And the fact that they win that game, and then coming out today when there was, I said it in the opening, there's a lot of reasons that you could point to and say we lost the game because on the road, crazy week, head coach not here, a bunch of guys down, starters that are out. Could have been reasons to point and say we lost that game because of that, or we didn't play well because of that, but they didn't. They rose above, their leadership showed up, and this is a really impressive win for Ohio State.
So Ohio State, of the top 4 teams in the college football playoff rankings, the first to get a win today, and that is a much-deserved Gatorade bath for the acting coach today, Coach Johnson. As in the absence of Ryan Day, Ohio State looked like they did not miss a beat. 52-12, they take care of Michigan State. For Dan Orlovsky and Quinn Kesnick, I'm Bob Wischusen. After a quick break here on ABC, we will send you to Madison, Wisconsin. The Badgers and the Hoosiers underway, so stay tuned for that right here on ABC. Enjoy the rest of your college football Saturday.
Good job, Rob. Thank you, brother. Cool. Thanks, brother.
Sounds good.
You too,
Tell
bro.
everybody in the snowstorm back there. Thanks
Thank you,
a million.
everyone.
Oh, God.
What did you say?
Check, check, check. I love this. They go sing the school song to an empty stadium. Thank you. No, I know. I didn't expect it. I just wanted some direction.
It was good, guys.
It was good. Those guys played well.
Yeah, they're good.
They did okay. They did okay. I love this, how they...
So where do you want it?